Hey, what's going on? It's James from My Take on Reality. I can't see any of my chat, so there's problems going on already. Struggle streaming. Ugh, tell you things are kind of sticky. So what's happening? What's happening? Me, I gotta get this back. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. What's going on, people? All kinds of craziness happening. Try to hook up some tricks, wind up getting tripped up. All right, all right. I see we have a bunch of people coming in. That's awesome. Thank you. Welcome. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you guys hitting me up, checking me out on a fine Saturday afternoon. I know you guys are probably getting ready either to go out or maybe have a quiet evening at home, whatever you choose to do. I hope you do it safely and with somebody you care about. All right, so how's my sound going? Could you guys hit me up with a one? Let me know that you're getting my sound and everything sounds okay before we get into it. Uh, as it were, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that came up during my last live. I noticed that there were some people who had said that, hey, Cody is live now too on a podcast. And so I checked out the podcast as you knew I was going to. Thank you guys for letting me know. That sound cool. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Uh, I checked out the podcast and I got to tell you, with Cody didn't disappoint. He did not disappoint. Like the crazy thing about the podcast that I noticed, and shout out to the guys from Mormonism Live or Mormon Live. These guys did a fantastic job with the interview, I thought, because there's only so much that they could talk to Cody about. Like, they can't really get into Cody about what's happening on TLC because TLC will come and sue everybody. Right? So there's always that concern. Hey, what's going on? And when you start looking at how they're doing it and how they were talking to him, they were allowing him to be him. They were letting him, what do you think about polygamy, brother? Tell me your thoughts. And of course, Cody being Cody, thinking that he's like this thought leader in the polygamous realm. He even had a quote at one point where he said, when I was young, I had a lot of theories and no experience. And now I have a lot of experience and no theories. And I'm like, yeah, you also have no wives. So, like, you're losing all the way around. And it just tripped me out watching the whole thing. I got to tell you, I recommend it. I have a link for the entire interview that they did during that on YouTube. Is free to watch. These guys actually seem pretty decent. I'm not really familiar with their work, but I'm probably going to check out a couple more of their videos because they do talk about Mormonism and they talk about the faith. So I figure I'll get a little more understanding about maybe where they are religiously, so that way I can get a better grip or a better handle on why they keep falling into the traps that they fall into. Now, just as a quick aside, like when I did the video on Mary, some people may think that I'm being nasty to Mary because I don't understand Mary and her religious calling and how she approaches life. I'll say this. Before we get started, I'm giving people time to come into the room, so I'm kind of long stroking you guys a little bit. Hope you don't mind. I'll say this. Irregardless or irrespective of how you were raised or what religion you were brought up in or what faith you have or even what your personal belief is, what your shortcomings are, whether you're insecure, you don't believe in yourself, whatever the case may be, none of those things gives you the right to impose yourself on someone else, nor do they give you the right to force somebody into a relationship that they don't want to be in. Big shout out to Jules Sherrill. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. And all I'm saying with regard to that is Mary, I understand she was married to Cody. She helped to construct the family. She helped to bring the family together. And she has every right to be hurt, to feel betrayed, to feel like Cody, to use one of Cody's words, to feel like Cody wasn't being loyal to her and the family. She had every right to feel that way. However, with all that being said, Cody has every right to leave a situation he doesn't want to be in. And I stay true to that, and I try to stay consistent with that because in my mind, the same arguments that someone could make for why Mary is acting the way she is and why she refuses to let go, another person could turn around and make those same arguments for Cody and say that Cody has a right to treat Christine that way or treat Janelle that way because they chose to leave him. And I don't think that if Christine doesn't want to be in this situation, and frankly, she made out like a bandit leaving this situation, so did Janelle, and I think so will Mary, or so does Mary eventually. Because they made out so well in leaving, and they did so well in leaving, they left because they needed to leave. And in my mind, when you get divorces, you get separations, whatever the case may be, and we'll talk about this a little bit more because it's brought up during the interview with the Mormon folks in the podcast. Because you choose to leave, you have the right to leave a relationship because you don't want to be in it anymore. You don't have to wait till somebody come along and slap the shit out of you before you say, you know what, this is reason enough for me to go. Or somebody to cheat with you, cheat on you with your sister or your brother or your uncle, your cousin, whoever, for you to be able to say, you know what, this is a relationship I no longer want to continue. So you have that absolute right. Now, I will say sometimes, and this will be something that we kind of get into and we're talking about as we talk about some of these bigger issues, especially when it comes to Cody's approach to womanhood and relationships and all that. There is a point where Cody and his ilk, meaning not just people from the Mormon belief system, I'm not just referring to that. I'm referring particularly to a lot of the red pill community folks. A lot of the red pill community folks, oh, okay. I just got a message. Sorry. Uh, a lot of the people on these red pill groups and things like that, a lot of times they kind of fall back on the whole idea of men and women are built a certain kind of way and men should have a right to do X, Y, and Z. And women are built another way where they're nurturers and gatherers and men are hunters and we are supposed to construct this universe and all that. And if you look at nature, the way the animals are do it, blah, blah, blah. What they fail to realize is that in order to be successful in this world, you have to have kitty cat control and dick discipline. You got to have kitty cat control and dick discipline. In other words, we are not animals. We are not subject to the whims and instincts of just going off, running off with people because a pretty girl walked by, I got to go chase her. Or for a young lady, and the crazy part is, and we'll definitely get into this, because I was kind of on the fence on whether I should do a reaction or maybe a video on this interview or this podcast. And when Cody said the thing about hypergamy, and we'll get into hypergamy and what that means in a little bit. When he said that, I was like, oh, bump this. We definitely doing a live on this fool. Like, we riding on it. We are going to ride on his ass tonight, y'all. So make sure you got your popcorn, buckle up, buttercup, because we are going to take the ride. And as always, you know James, he brought that's right, I brought them receipts. So we are going to be going through, we're going to be checking out some clips from it. Like I said, I'm trying to encourage people to watch the whole thing because you need to make up your own mind as to what he was saying. This is just my perspective, my view, and I cut it in such a way. The editing button is mighty powerful, so I cut it in such a way where I want to talk about the things I want to talk about. But we're going to talk about it because I think that some things need to be addressed. And it bothers me to no end that when you have people, not so much just Cody, but people like Cody, people of Cody's ilk, who try to take a leadership position in so many of these spaces. They try to pass their belief system off as though their belief system is well-founded and well-researched and well thought out, when in fact, it's none of those things. Particularly when I look at, when I think about Cody talking about this thing, and if you watch this whole thing, and it can be rough at times because the gentleman will ask very pointed questions, or they'll start to ask questions of Cody. This is what I want to find out, A, B, C. And then Cody will stop them mid-question, much like he used to do with Janelle, Christine, and Mary, where he'll try to stop them mid-question and ask them, like, oh, whoa. Here's what I think. Before I hear your question, here's what I think of your question thus far. Like, that's the exact wrong way to answer a question. That's probably one of the most frustrating ways for you to be able to deal with people. Oh, man. Like I said, I really feel like looking up hypergamy. It's the way it's used, and just as a quick thing, the way hypergamy is used, especially in the red pill arena or forums or spaces, it's actually very limited, and it becomes very misogynistic the way that they do it. Now we're gonna get into it, but when they were talking to Cody and they were asking him questions, and he was looking at him saying, "Guys, we're all bros here, because he had that whole we're bros having a conversation attitude towards the whole interview. We're all bros. We're just sitting there chilling, talking, and having a good time. Blah blah blah. And every time the guys would try to direct the conversation, he would try to take the conversation over. And a big part of the reason why I think he tried to take the conversation over the way he did is because Cody and Robin are still on that image rehabilitation tour. They're trying to still rehabilitate their image. And there was one point, and again, this is to their credit, because both of these guys, although they are familiar with the Mormon practice of religion in that area, I believe they're from Utah. So they're familiar, and they probably even came in contact. I think one of the gentlemen said he came in contact with Cody, or he's in one of his circles. They are not familiar with a lot of the goings on as far as the Sister Wives program is concerned. And I think one of the gentlemen said he maybe caught a couple episodes, so he's not really intimately familiar about a lot of the things that were happening on the show, which, in fairness, gives them a slight disadvantage to being able to actually press Cody about some of the positions that he's taking. So you get more of the Cody trying to pontificate or expand upon these high ideas, and I had a wife who blah blah blah, yeah, I had a situation where blah blah blah, and you can't judge me because you've never been in my shoes. And that to me is always funny, because I grew up with the mentality, wise men, I was always told a wise man once said that a fool doesn't learn anything. A smart man will learn from his mistakes, and a wise man will learn from other people's mistakes. And that's how I try to live my life. And to be honest with you, it's worked for me thus far. And as I go out and I try to meet as many people as I can and talk to as many people as I can, I develop an understanding of how people function within relationships and what people particularly folks are looking for as they start to enter into a lot of these relationships. So I'm learning from other people. I don't have to, push them down the shove. I don't have to go out and do a bunch of drugs to realize that drugs are bad. I don't have to go and, run my car off a road, after I had, 6 or 7 6-packs of booze to figure out that this is something that I don't want to do. Like, same. I don't have to get involved with 4 women, try to maintain those relationships, have damn near 20 kids for me to figure out that having multiple wives and multiple children with those multiple wives is a hard way to go. I can look at a situation where people have, multiple, hell, you can look at a situation where people are dealing with one parent in a co-parent situation and see how difficult that can be. And then you say, okay, yeah, let me times that by 4 and a bunch more kids and a bunch more responsibility. And I don't have any of the time or energy or effort to deal with that. And I can tell you it's not a good move. Trying to read some of these. Oh, and what I did see, guys, I got to tell you, what I did see, my dang on chat just got small again. Big shout out to Lisa the housewife with the super chat. Shout out to James for the awesome breakdowns. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're awesome too. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not. You're awesome. You guys are all awesome. Oh, make sure you hit the like button so that way, you get the likes up and people know you like it. Let me just read some of these real quick before I get into it. Because I'm going to tell you, when I was watching when I was watching that whole thing, there were people firing them up. Because the best part of the whole thing was actually the chat section. Because you can see the one guy, I think his name is Bill Reel. He's talking to Cody and he's interviewing him and he's trying to interact with him. And the other gentleman, Free Mormon Radio, I think his name is. Free Mormon FMR? Yeah, I think it's Free Mormon Radio. Or Mormon Free Radio. This guy, you can see his eyes shooting back and forth as he's reading the text messages. and you can see the register like, holy shit, because people were firing them up, and there were a couple of people who I think they might even be here today. I think I saw a couple of folks because I noticed that there are some of my subscribers, because I read my comment sections, especially when I post the videos. I read through the comment sections. It's a little harder to do while I'm talking to a camera to read the thing, just so we all know we're all on the same page. So sorry if I don't directly hit you. But as I'm reading through there, I'm recognizing some of the people. And oh, they was coming. Like they were coming for Cody's ass in that comment section. And the host was looking at it like, oh my God. And one of the first things that I wanted to bring up and talk about actually comes from the host when he was talking to Cody. Because up until this point, and this is towards the end of the interview, I'm just going to bring it up front because I talked about them reconditioning their image. And there is one point in there where the host was just like, Cody, I was talking to you. Oh, big shout out to Red Lip Girl. Oh, Red Lip Girl, holla at your boy. Glad to be part of your live. I'm glad you're part of my live. Everybody, I'm glad everybody's here. Otherwise, I'd be talking to the camera by myself. And people will be curious about my sanity. But there was one point where the guy's like, "Look, Cody, you seem like a nice guy, because I like to talk to everybody before we bring them on to the show. I like to just interview them. I like to talk to them, have a conversation. I called you up. We were having a conversation. Everything seemed really good. And then there were a few times where I was trying to let you go because because you seemed like you were crazy busy, and I was trying to get off the phone with you, but you would not let me go. Every time I tried to, cut off the conversation, you would pull me back into the conversation, Hey, Cody was like, yeah. And he was like, I thought you were really nice when you were doing that, because you didn't have to do that. And I was like, wow, this guy is really nice. And you can see Cody's face. He's smiling. You'll see it in this clip I'm about to play. You see him smiling like a fish with a cat with a bag of fish. He's sitting there smiling, big old smile on his face. Then the guy was like, yeah, but now I'm reading some of these these text messages, these chats, and Cody, they hate you. I was like, yeah, the most hated man on TV. But let's take a look at it, because we'll talk about it on the other side. Because he says some things in here that I thought were very interesting, and I thought that it was interesting. And as somebody, I guess, who knows the inside baseball, the inside track, and the inside story as to what's going on, I thought it was hilarious, because Cody has been trying to recondition his image forever, and it's kind of like they just found out that he's not doing well. And nobody likes him. And to be honest with you, if you really take a look at why they don't like him, which we'll talk about, but you take a look at why people don't like him, it's evident in the interview. And if I was his PR consultant, if I was trying to advise him, like, dude, this is why people don't like you, I would show him this tape, and we would go through the tape of what we're about to watch now and the interview that he had with these gentlemen. But let's take a look real quick. I'm going to see if I can call this bad boy up. We'll see how this goes. Got a new toy. Let's see how this works.
And I just thought, what a nice fellow. And now I'm becoming aware of the fact that you seem to be a lightning rod for negative criticism, if there's such a thing as positive criticism, but very, very negative comments from a myriad of people. And I'm a little bit at a loss, but that's because I don't know. Do you know why that is? Why do you think that is?
I know exactly why that is. um,
Oh, shoot. You guys couldn't hear me. Oh, no. So you saying I was just sitting there talking to myself, looking crazy? Yikes. That's not fun. Oh, man. We're going to have to try to figure this out. James, you are muted, my guy. I know, right? All right, we're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. James, we can't hear you. Everybody tell me. James, we can't hear you. All right. Somebody said, do you have sound? Is it still out? You guys can hear me now, right? Okay, now I can hear you. All right. Man, this live shit is no joke. I'm too old for lives. Apparently, maybe it's like an age restriction on lives. Like I said, I watched both IQs. Oh man. Okay, but we're gonna get back into it. that's horrible. But we're gonna figure it out. And we're gonna work it out and it'll get better. This is the second time. I mean, the first time went pretty good and you get confident, and the second time, yeah, you screw the pooch. You just kind of shit the bed a little bit. But that's okay. We back in. Alright, so what I want you guys to look at is look at how Cody reacts. The guy Free Mormon, okay, just so we can catch it up. The guy Free Mormon, okay, Rochelle J. Lost the end of the clip and everything you said. Oh, okay, now I appreciate that. Just to repeat what I was saying. If you look at, because I'll run the clip back. If you look at, like Cody, when he first starts, the guy Radio Free Mormon, he's like, yeah, you were awesome and I appreciate it. And you seem like such a nice guy. And Cody, he jumps the gun. All right, Renee, I see you. Thank you so much. With the super chat. Cody is like, I see it. And, I appreciate you guys. Dude, you guys are pretty awesome too. Because they were having a pretty cordial conversation. And these guys were giving some pushback, with where they were. They're respectable guys. So I didn't really expect them to roast him. I'd have roasted his ass. But but watch Cody's face. Watch Cody's face. And see how he responds when the guy was like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not singing your praises here, Cody. We're gonna roast you. Big shout out to Rad Liberal Girl. All right now. She's like, get some sound back, sucker. All right, we're going to rock this. Now watch that. I'm going to run the clip back. We'll watch it, and then I'm going to try to fix the sound so I can comment during it. Big shout out to Lauren. All right. I'll see you. Maldonado. Okay, that's a cool name. All right, here we go. Going to rock this thing one more time. Let's see if we can get it.
The only way I had credibility when I came out public as a polygamist was because my wives were backing me up, saying I was a great guy and that we were worth it together as a family and that I was a good father and husband, yada, yada, yada. All my sins were covered by a cloak of charity from these ladies. When they left or I left or whatever, our breakup happened. Now all of a sudden we no longer cover each other's sins with a cloak of charity. And my public persona has become what I would consider personally that I'm the heel of the show. Unfairly, I think Robin, my current wife, my only wife now, has become the heel of the show also because of for the same reason. From the very beginning, the first season ends with Robin and I having a wedding and going on a honeymoon. While I'm on my honeymoon, that sacred loneliness that my first three wives had was invited out by our experience being public. where they had always had other women they associated with that we kind of complained to each other. They never had a public venue to say, I'm jealous that he's gone on a honeymoon. While my fourth wife and I were gone on a honeymoon that my other wives all got.
We're going to stop it right there. I got to take that off. We're going to stop that right there. Because that was ridiculous. That in itself is ridiculous. Oh, big shout out to Laura Maldonado. I appreciate that. When you talk about, oh, the sacred loneliness of my other wives because I was on my honeymoon. Like, of course that's going to create a problem. One. Two, you didn't give your wives the same treatment you gave your fourth wife. Some of them said, like, I think it was Janelle said she went away for like a weekend. Christine did kind of the same thing. Both cases, Christine and Janelle did not have big, huge weddings and big, huge events or big ceremony to celebrate their nuptials. In fact, Janelle said her marriage or her wedding day was very small because most of her family didn't support, because she's not from a polygamous family. Most of her family didn't support polygamy or her marriage, so she didn't have a big wedding at all. Christine, she basically got married in secret. So, I mean, the idea that, oh, you had a big blowout wedding for Robin, then you took that chick away for 2 weeks, and you have the audacity and the nerve and the gall to sit on camera and say, yeah, for some reason, these women was jealous. You believe that? They are so damn selfish. You lunatic. Of course they're going to be jealous. Who wouldn't be mad? Who wouldn't be mad? What's funny to me is that when the ladies went away and Truly got sick, that weekend and Truly got sick, I think Cody was pissed off that the three of them got to go on vacation and he couldn't go on. Because let's keep in mind, every time it was time for somebody to go somewhere, the one common denominator of each one of those trips was Cody. Cody would take each one of the wives somewhere. When he went to Mexico twice with Mary, he went to Mexico twice. When he went to California with Robin, he went to California with Robin. So, of course, you're not mad because you're going on all the trips. And the fact that you don't understand why these women are upset is more indicative of why your relationships don't work. It's not even rocket science. The basic understanding of human nature that this guy fails to understand, his emotional intelligence is like somewhere around, set to Neanderthal. Like, I don't understand how this dude functions as a human being. Like, it's insane. Like, oh yeah, for some reason, the people were watching this show who, hey, let's keep it all the way in stack. Let's keep it all the way 100. I see the hundreds coming up. Let's keep it all the way 100. Most of the people who are watching this show were ladies. Most of the ladies could see themselves in a situation, maybe some could see themselves as the younger person entering into the relationship like Robin, but most of them most likely would see themselves, if you're a kind of a, monogamous person, a decent person, if you have a relationship, you see the vulnerability of these three women as they're watching their husband go off with some woman, and, he'll say he wasn't mistreating them. But you were mistreating them because you weren't treating them properly, because you weren't treating them fairly. And he'll say, well, I was treating them fairly because I screwed over Mary, I screwed over Janelle, and I screwed over Christine. So the three of them basically got treated the same. I just had one wife that I treated better. So the idea that you don't understand why these people are angry is ridiculous to me. Then he says, he tries to take up the mantle for Robin. Oh, Robin, she was so amazing. And I can't believe that so many people dislike her. She just kind of got washed in because some of these women were trash talking her. The women weren't trash talking Robin. Robin has always been at the bottom of the likability scale. It's always fluctuated between Christine and Janelle, And in some cases, it was like Christine and Janelle would go back and forth from 1 and 2. Then it was Mary. Then at the bottom of the barrel, usually it was Cody and Robin would fluctuate between the bottom, the most disliked people on the show. That's the history of the show. And then he talks, and then my favorite part is, and this is one of the things I was saying as far as his presentation on the show, his big thing was always, oh, that's my shoe. James, I smell a merch opportunity. Cloak of charity. Hoodies and sacred loneliness mugs. and that's the thing. That's the thing right there. Thank you very much. That's my shoe. I love the name. That's my shoe. But the crazy thing to me is that when you, that's all. I think, Lane, how were you on that? Sending messages to them people. Tearing their asses up. Yeah, right. Nobody trash talked the wives like Robin did. That's true. When push comes down to shove, if you watch the series, it's always been a thing where nobody trusted Robin because Robin came in, much like Cody is doing during this interview, where he never nails down anything. We're going to get into it in a little bit where he starts talking about justifying like child brides. Like, so on one side is like, oh, I'm a father and I'm a dad, daughter, and I have kids, and you know, oh, it kind of really grinds my gears that this happens in the faith. But then he turns around and says, yeah, but people accuse this one gentleman of it, but I don't know if I necessarily believe it. You can't walk on both sides of the street at the same time. If you think it's wrong no matter who does it. That's what I was saying earlier about Mary. If I think I could like somebody and disagree with what they do, I could dislike somebody and agree with what they did. Like, it doesn't, like, for me, consistency is consistency. I like to be, you know, if I believe something, I want to ride it. And I'll stand by what I believe. But I'm not going to sit here and placate or bounce back and forth because, you know, it makes this one or that one feel good, or because I don't like this person, it's okay to treat them bad or do the wrong thing. Wrong is wrong. And so the reason why so many people, big shout out to Jessica Ozier. I hope I got your name right. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. Your perspective is spot on. Oh, thank you very much. It's funny as hell. Just an old Southern woman's opinion. I like Southern folks. I spent a lot of time down there in Georgia. Not even Atlanta, like the rural Georgia. When I was a kid, I had family down there. So big shout out to the South. The thing is that as you watch a lot of these stories fluctuate between Cody and Robin and their opinions and them talking about stuff, they don't have an opinion on anything. For the first, 10 seasons, Robin didn't say shit. Like, if you were sitting there having a conversation with Robin and she was in the room and Cody was asking about all the wives' opinions, Robin would always say, no, I'll go last. No, you go first. No. Because she always wanted to find out where everybody else was so that she could blend into their opinion. And to be honest with you, that annoys me more than anything else. I can handle people disagreeing with me. I mean, it's, this life. I'm an adult. Like, I can take it. I can take your disagreements. But what I can't stand is somebody pretending that they are going along with it, or they failing to give me their opinion, or they kind of they flush in conversations where it appears like they're giving their opinion, but they're not really. And it just becomes problematic and it's silly. Like, you're an adult, have an opinion. You're married. You're supposed to be an equal partner to Cody and an equal sister wife to these women. If you have an opinion on something, say it. That's cited even when back when they were talking about picking the lots or whatever. Cody and Robin had already picked what lot she was going to have. Because as soon as because it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, where Janelle was going to be next to the pond, and then 5 on that far end, and then all of a sudden, I think somebody said, oh, well, you could go into lot 5, and she sat there, and then Cody was like, no, she's taking lot 5. Robin's got it. and he made the little frown face like he was upset or something. She goes to Cody and has these conversations, talks it, and they work it out between the two of them. Then they go back, and then she gets to play quiet, and then he enforces the rules. This is part of the reason why so many people take the position that Robin is a manipulator, that Robin is the puppeteer, that Robin is controlling so much, because Robin doesn't say what she thinks until she's home alone by herself with Cody. So when you sitting there doing the whole, I'm going to do the secret squirrel shit, and I'm going to make my little evil plans, and I'm going to work it out with Cody, and then we're going to go back and tell the wives, I'm going to listen to the wives, and nobody trusts that crap either, because what happens is, when they go back and tell the wives, then Cody leaves, and then Robin gets to sit there and play master spy. And all she does is listen to the wives complain about it, and then she runs back and tells Cody what was said and who said what. And that's half the reason why Cody had such a problem with Christine and them. Because when she went back, and here's the thing about me. I understand how people work. When people go tell these kind of stories, she wasn't going back telling the story about Christine like, oh yeah, Christine said this and she slightly disagreed with it. And she just said that this is not the smartest thing in the world. No, that's not what she said. What she said was, Christine was like, Cody dumb as hell. Then she rolled her eyes all the way back in her head when she was talking about your plan, and she said, you stupid as shit, this plan ain't never gonna work, we a failure as a family, and then your dick is small. Like, you know what I mean? And just all kinds of crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden Cody gets mad, gets in his fees, and then he's there mistreating Christine. And it all kind of works out for Robin, because she turns him against her, she turns all the wives against each other, and then she gets to sit there and play the victim and the go-between. And I don't trust that either. When you have somebody turn around and play the go-between, where they sit there, they get these people, these faction of folks fighting, and then she tries to pretend like she's cool with everybody so that she can be the only person going between each one of the factions. Like, that's not the way to go. So I know that's how they was working it. And then Cody is sitting there like, I don't understand why people don't like her. That's why. Let's let's take a listen. Keep it going.
They criticized that, and I think established, I don't even know, this is just from my perspective, I don't know how this happened, but a criticism of her. And I think for years she may have been a heel of the show. Absolutely the kindest woman, little shy, with boundaries, but I think trash talking from other people, the people who used to sing my praises, and trash talking from these same people towards my fourth wife, kind of did some damage. And the public, like both of you should go back, just watch every episode from the beginning to the end. And then the two of you just tell me, do you see anything? I want to know, do you see anything wrong with Robin? Because I trust you guys enough to let you do it. I'm not listening to anybody else, because I'm loyal to her as she is loyal to me. But it's simple as that. Sorry for the long answer, to just make it short. I'll put it in a nutshell now, RFM. We were backing each other, and now we're not. And now it's just a big trash talk. He did this, this, and this, and this. He changed. He did whatever. Sure, I changed. Yeah, a lot has happened. And so I said, the fool blames everybody else, and the wise man blames himself, and the stoic doesn't lay blame. I wish there was just more stoicism and just say, this is just the way it ended, or the way it worked out.
And I just thought, what a nice.
Now right there, Cody's so full of shit that he can't, his eyes are brown. Like, this dude, that's why he's the Brown family, because he's full of shit. Like, this guy is killing me. Like, yeah, I don't understand, the fool blames other people, and the other person blames themselves, and the wise man, he don't blame nobody, he just pretends like nothing happened. Screw you, Chief. Screw you. If you mess up, if you do something and you fuck it up, then it's your fault. The way that you get past it is you look at yourself and you say, I need to fix this. Big shout out to Rad Lib Girl. Thank you so much for the super chat. You look at yourself and say, I need to fix this. Where did I make mistakes? Where did I go wrong? You see, because a smart man learns from his mistakes. He don't just sit there and pretend like, oh, there's nothing we could do about it. We just going to keep bumping our head against the wall instead of just bending our knees a little bit and just passing under. That's what dummies do. Dummies will keep doing the same damn thing over and over and over again. That's part of the reason, ironically, that's part of the reason why, and I apologize if this is so booming, but ironically, that's part of the reason why you lost Christine and then you turn right around and lost Janelle in short order. Because a smart guy would have looked at it instead of saying, oh, that happened. You would have looked at your situation and said, you know what? I need to start fixing myself. These women are very upset. They're not happy with the way things are going. So I need to do something to make myself more appealing. Why are these women leaving? Why are they so upset? Why are they so mad? Instead of you just telling them that they just got to suck it up and keep going and pretend like everything is everything and throwing around words like stoicism, sacred loneliness, and all that, them bullshit terms that you must have learned, you picked up in some kind of Mormonism crackerjack box for idiots. Instead of doing that, you start looking at your situation and try to figure it out. And this is part of the reason why I say that the one guy who sat there and made the point, his friend, I forget the guy's name, the cousin, Mary's brother-in-law. Big shout out to Lauren Maldonado. Love the video. I feel you. Thank you so much. This helps with my blood pressure, y'all. This helps get y'all helping me. You're saving a life. Because this dude will blow your mind up, boy. I'm telling you. He will blow your mind. You be sitting there, you be like watching Kody Brown, and all of a sudden, head just explode every time. Because this dude is killing me. He's killing me. Because you sit there and you play this game where everything, happens to you, and you are somehow the victim of the world, and nobody understands you, and everybody in the world is mistreating you, and everybody's mistreating Robin, and she's not being treated fairly. If you people were to take 5 minutes and actually consider somebody else's feelings, how somebody else is taking this, you start caring for your kids, then you probably would have made out 100% better than you have thus far. It's crazy as hell. It's crazy as hell. Like, and I'm watching this. Oh, okay, I got like all kinds of stuff going on now. So distracting. Because Cody is killing my ass. He is killing me. Because and then my favorite part is, we're not going to blame anybody. Everybody's just going, I need people to stop trash talking. That's one of the problems with Mormonism, not Mormonism, I apologize. That's not even fair to the Mormons. I apologize to the Mormons because I'm mislabeling. That's one of the problems with some of the patriarchal polygamists who exist in a fundamental Mormon church who misappropriate their approach towards dealing with other people. They try to normalize bad behavior, and this isn't just in the Mormon church, not the Mormon church, but the fundamentalist church. This isn't just in a polygamous sector. This is also happens in any type of abusive relationship, whether it's monogamous, polygamous, whatever, and some work relationships where you try to normalize bad behavior, bad sentiment, where you get a bunch of people around who say that this is normal and everything is fine and this is the way it should go because there's no problems and everything is everything. You try to normalize it by using other people. So yes, Cody did benefit from having multiple wives, right? I'll be talking about that. We buy new and used. We'll be talking about that. Thank you for the super chat. Well, but this is part of the reason why, when people look at these relationships, they don't feel confident about these relationships. Because you're sitting there saying that, as long as I can keep people around me who are saying that this is okay, then people will like me and it'll be okay. But it's not okay. Just because a bunch of people think it's fine don't mean it's fine. If you were to talk, ideally, if you could have surrounded Christine with a bunch of people who believed that she had no right to leave the family, regardless of how Cody was treating her, then she would still be in the marriage. Funny thing is, had he moved to Utah with her when she wanted to move back a couple years ago, yeah, I guess is where we are in season 17, 16, 17, 16 really. If he would have moved to Utah, he would have been surrounded by a group of people who would have normalized Cody's bad behavior, and Christine would have found it more difficult to leave. Does that make it right? Hell to the no. Hell to the no. Doesn't make it right. Just because you're surrounding yourself with people who are telling you it's okay doesn't make it okay. And you need to have these people do that. That's why you needed them around. One of Cody's biggest booms, and they try to really roll it out through season 1 through 4 or 5, where they would sit on the couch and the women would talk about how great Cody was and what a great father he was and how he divides his time and he makes sure he spends so much time and he's such a great man. And he would just sit there and and say all kinds of little quippy shit and try to make himself seem cute. That was back in Cody's cute stage, where the women would sit there and do all the talking and he would just sit there and be quiet. You can see this in other situations where you have guys who go out and try to take advantage of women in we'll call it a solicitation field. Pimps. What they would do is they never talk to these women. A guy was it Iceberg Slim wrote a book on it. They never talk to these women. They have other women talk to the women for them. The other women who work for him that he has in his stable will go back to the new people or prospective people and tell them how wonderful the relationships are and how great the marriages are and how awesome this dude is and how wonderful he is and all this greatness and all this stuff. And then he'll benefit from their report. And that's what Cody was trying to do. And that's what Cody was doing in the earlier seasons. The other wives will come out and talk about how great he was. And then Robin was right there with him singing his praise. Singing his praise. Oh yeah, Cody's great too. He's such a great father. He's such an awesome person. He spends time with everybody. Thank you very much. Joe Maldonado. Big Joe in the house. I love your show. Keep them coming. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But that's what they did, and that's how he was able to get the show that he had, because that was built into the cake. He was going to have the other women, Christine, Janelle, and Mary, okay everything he does. And then part of the problem that he has now is that Mary, Janelle, and the OG3, Mary, Janelle, Christine, OG3, no longer, no longer sign off on his dumb shit. So now he's standing out there naked with Robin, still doing the same thing he was doing before. It's just that he doesn't have any cover for it, and it looks even more ridiculous now that he's doing it. But as promised, because I bring them receipts. I would hit my thing, but it's kind of crazy. I don't want to be hacked. Just ding 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 ding. But I brought them receipts, and one of the things that I brought the receipts on was, again, I encourage everybody to go watch the full live or the full podcast. But one of the things that Cody had talked about, and this is what actually got me on the tip, where I was like, I'm definitely going to be doing this. I'm definitely coming in heavy and doing this live because of what he says in this next clip.
And I think plural marriage is a paradox because, listen, if you were to ask me, is plural marriage or polygamy good for society? I'm going to tell you it has to be. And because you're never going to stop it. And the reason you're never going to stop it is because there's two things going on. Men are polygynists. We want to have one more woman, no matter how programmed we are for monogamy. And women are, what's the word? It's a word that slipped in my mind, where she wants a better man than the man she's got. You guys would know the word. And so they're looking for a better man. And so you're always going, as long as you have hypergamy, that's the word. As long as you have polygamy, you'll have hypergamy. And as long as you have hypergamy, you're going to have polygamy.
I'm going to pause it right there. This is the stupidest shit. This is what drives me crazy. Like, this is what drives me crazy. Oh, polygamous, and then all of a sudden hypergamy. Like, these people, they get these words and these terms from anthropological books, and they say, wow, I'm dealing with a sociological term, and I'm going to throw it around like I know what the heck I'm talking about. And I don't. Hypergamy. Hypergamy is simply this. If you are a poor person who wants to date a rich person, that is a form of hypergamy. If you are you're looking to improve your social standing by dating somebody in what is considered a higher social class, that is hypergamous. Please, everybody, hit the like button. Let's boost James's algorithm. Thank you so much, Rochelle J. I appreciate it. You were hooking me up in the last live, too. I did go back and see that. Thank you so much for that. Yes, please hit the like and share button and all that good stuff. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. But when I see that, oh, I want to talk about the hypergamy. And if you're in high school and you were a nerd guy and you wanted to date the cheerleader, the head cheerleader, stereotypically, Hollywood setup of teen social dynamic and social infrastructure. I'm a nerd guy and I want to date the head cheerleader. Why does he want to date the head cheerleader? Because he feels as though not only is she pretty and hot and all that stuff, but he feels as though by dating her, it elevates his social standing. That is hypergamous. That's what it is. But these Nimrods get it in their mind because they have the understanding of relationships of a child, of a middle schooler. They believe that all men are looking around, head on a swivel, trying to find a next piece because apparently in their social dynamics and the people that they hang around with, because yes, I'm going to go there. If you're the type of dude who doesn't have dick discipline and you can't discern whether you want to go home with this one or that one or who is best for you to lay down with or spend your time with, and you are controlled by what's in your pants, then you, my friend, are not only an idiot, you're a danger to yourself and society. Because you should have control. You should have control. Especially when you're a 50-year-old fucking man, you should have control. You should be able to determine whether you're going to go and chase after your carnal desires, your primal desires, or you're going to start using your intellect. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I would say the same thing to a young lady. One of the most powerful things you have going for you is your sexuality. It's powerful. It's powerful. But you don't have to use that power or wield that power so that you can get a damn ham sandwich. That's essentially what Cody is talking about. Women should never starve because they all sitting on at least a ham sandwich. Some of you are sitting on steaks. What are you talking about, you moron? You moron? What are you talking about? It's such a childish way of looking at things. Oh, men, they see women and they're so attracted. How about this? Women have eyes in their heads too. Women are sexually attracted to men too. Oh, their head's gonna explode. I went hit my thing. Their head's going to explode because they don't understand that all of a sudden, they don't understand that a woman could be walking down the street with her man and see, big shoulder, Franklin walking down the road, to barrel chest, big old arms. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? She could be looking too. You think women don't get tempted? That's what's the funniest thing to me about this whole situation. Thank you so much, Becky. Becky Allaire. Larry, I think that's your name. Preach. $5 super chat. Appreciate you. That's the thing that cracks me up with so many of these dudes. Their understanding of women is so juvenile. They think they're the only ones who appreciate a good-looking human being. They don't think that women have the same drive, that a woman don't see a man and say, I want to break some of that off. What I would do to him. The only difference between the two is historically, men are a lot more piggish when it comes down to it. They'll say stuff that is dumb as hell. Like they'll go up to a woman and basically say to her, oh, I think you cute. Like a perfect example. Like there's so many of these like gym videos where the women are embarrassing the guys in the gym because the guys look at them, they wearing the tight pants and they got I go to the gym and I see it too. They got their biker shorts, their yoga pants like hoisted like halfway up their ass. And they always want to be doing Romanian deadlifts, which is basically they bend over and pick up weights in front of you the whole time. And by the time they get done, you can not only see, all their business, but you can pretty much see what they ate last week. Like, because the stuff is so crazy, right? You think that the women are the only ones in the gym looking? The men are the only ones looking? Now the men will be the idiots who walk up to the young ladies who are working out, minding their own business with the headphones on. They just there trying to get their workout. The guy will be the dummy who walks over and insists that the woman know that he thinks that she's attractive because that's a compliment. She must know I think she's pretty. And he'll walk over to her, you're pretty. I like your booty. Like she's going, oh wow, thank you very much. Let me take care of you in the bathroom. Like that's not what happens. But that's the only difference. Women will be in there and women notice when the guys are in there lifting a whole bunch of weight. Women notice when the guys are walking around with the tank tops and the t-shirts that are like, them medium ass t-shirts that they look like they got from the little boy section at the TJ Maxx. The girls notice that. That's why the boys wear it. Let's keep it all the way in stack. But this Nimrod thinks that, men are the only ones looking and women are looking at money. This is the guy who sat there and told Janelle that, you want to use me for my resources, and when I couldn't give you resources anymore, all of a sudden you broke up with me. No, bitch, she got with you when you was broke. What resources did you have? When she met you, you were renting a room from her. So why would she get with you? Because, she realized that one day you was going to have a TV show? She sat there, Janelle, Mary, and Christine all sat there and struggled with you when you had no money. You had no money. They were bringing in money. Janelle was your co-equal part. And if anything, let's keep it all the way a stack. I think Janelle was actually making more money than Cody. Which is why part of the reason why Cody all of a sudden decided to move so many times. Because it seemed like to me, at least in my machinations, I don't have proof to prove this, but in my machinations, I think that Janelle was working a job. She's going there hustling, doing her thing. All of a sudden, she starts getting promotions and she starts getting raises and she starts to outpace Cody. And the minute it looks like she's either about to pass him or more to the point, most likely about to lap his ass. So she about to make 2 times, 3 times more money than he making. And all of a sudden, it's time for us to pack a bag and move so you can get up out that job. Because I can't have you in there doing better than me. Dummy. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, if you a guy and you with a woman and you making $50,000 and she go get a job and she making $100,000, What do you care? If she bring what comes in the house is for the house. Let her do her thing, girl. Do that. Can I pour you some coffee, baby? Let me go down there and make you some eggs so you can get to work. Shit, dummy. He moves his wives away. Oh, all of a sudden they talk about making big money. Look like they're about to become the vice president or regional manager or something. No, we can't have that. Got to move you away. Because in his mind, the only way women are attracted to you is if they can what? Use you. The only way a woman can be attracted to you is if they can use you, because that's the whole thing with hypergamy, or at least that belief system. It requires for you to understand the fact that the only way a woman would ever find interest in you is if she could get some kind of advantage from you because you're an opportunity. Which also means that I don't understand why you lump so much into loyalty if every woman is simply looking for the best opportunity. So if a woman gets with you and you make $50,000, you take her to a company picnic and she meet the boss and the boss likes her and he makes $150,000, then you just got dumped. And you shouldn't even be surprised. If that's your belief system and you really believe that, your ass shouldn't be surprised. You should just say, oh, wow. She did that thing. Well played. Well played. That should be your response. But that's not their response. Because he doesn't believe that. He just thinks that, the limitations of what it is. And let's listen to some more of this foolishness, because before I get too deep, go too far down the well, and I jump the clip. But let's listen to some more of this.
I didn't know
the word hypergamy.
We learned something tonight.
And I don't want to get into this because it's a very sexist word. But everybody makes jokes about men and their wandering eyes. Everybody makes a joke about that. And the strongest monogamists still go, woo, hubba hubba, when a good looking woman goes by. There's still a biological nature, and it's all been proven out as far as I can tell accurately by modern modern evolutionary psychology.
Yeah, there's certainly truth to that. Yeah.
As long as there's a woman out here who wants this married man is going to want polygamy. I can't get away from it there because nature endorses it. And I'm not going against the book, the Doctrine and Covenants in section 132. I've had 3 years of hell as I've unraveled my polygamy, but I still support those people trying to do it. And but I think the one crazy thing is you have to enter it in freedom, in choice, and with wisdom.
And that, my friends, is some stupid shit. Like Alex Mack, thanks for speaking my mind. Cody, take notes. Yeah, right. This dude is killing me, Alex. This guy's killing me. Oh yeah, I did my research. Where did you do research? What book were you looking at that you did research? Because this same mindset, oh yeah, because in the history of the world, there were always strong men. And he said that before too, like like humble bragging. Strong men have always been polygamous. Yeah, in the history of the world, let's take a look at what we're talking about. Let's really think about what we're talking about. In the history of the world. So there's always an assumption that back in the primitive days of man, when they were living in caves, the men would go out hunting and the women would stay home and take care of the cave and sweep the hut up or whatever, right? Take care of the babies. And that's the way nature intended it. Okay? Then what you're saying is that in that society, again, it's about opportunities. In that society, as you get older, or if you fall down and you break your leg, and Joe Blow across the way can go over and knock a chimpanzee out of a tree or something, and he got meat, and you sitting over there with your broke leg talking about let's make some tortillas, she should run over there to Joe, right? Of course not. That's not what you would say. And then later on, women have always been attracted to these types of men. No. What happened in most cases when you look at kings and men who had wives and concubines and all that, a lot of times it was a power dynamic. A lot of those women weren't in those relationships because they thought these guys were attractive. They were in these relationships because they were forced to. They were forced to be in these relationships. That's how these relationships existed. Like half of us are walking around with the bloodline of Attila the Hun, not because he was a romantic guy. You know what I mean? So it's just the stupidity of what he's saying. Like it bears out in history. No, it doesn't. And even in the bare logic of what you say, women hypergamous, women are being the manosphere. That's right, and that's where a lot of this comes from. In a manosphere, they'll sit there, and in a lot of the people, like-minded people, will sit there and say things to the effect of, yeah, but women are always looking, like when they have kids, they're always drawn to the what do you call them, mega chads or the super chads or whatever, the big handsome guy, and the guy who's sleeping with a bunch of people, the Tyrones or whatever they call them, and they're attracted to these women. No, they're not. No, they're not. Why are women are attracted to who they're attracted to, first and foremost. Some people make good decisions, some people make bad decisions. Men and women. But women, by nature, especially human beings, there's too much of a biological investment for them to tie their wagon to somebody who is not going to provide for their children. There's too much of a financial, emotional, physical investment for them to become pregnant, birth a child, and then raise a child, for them to be able to invest in these guys who aren't doing anything positive for themselves or positive for their kids. Why have a baby with a guy who's got 14 other babies and he's not taking care of none of them? There's no advantage in that. Now, sometimes people make mistakes. What's also funny to me is that when you talk about hypergamy, I want to do a live or a video on Jada Pinkett, but just as a blanket on that, Jada Pinkett, Will Smith is loaded. Will Smith is loaded. And who is Jada Pinkett sleeping with? Most notably, who is she sleeping with? One of her son's friends. August Alsina, the guy that she was messing with, has nowhere near Will Smith's money. So what happened to your theory? The guy who has a hunter, provider, gatherer person, Will Smith, has way more money than the person that she was screwing on the side. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And that's the dumb part about this whole theory, is that it ignores the fact that women have desires too. Men aren't the only ones who make bad choices. That's why I say you got to have that kitty cat control too. It's not all about dick discipline and making good dick decisions. It's about having kitty cat control, making good decisions with your stuff, who you spend time with, and how you spend that time, and what you do with it. Everybody's got somebody they wanted to mess with, but then didn't mess with them, and then turn around and be like, thank God I didn't mess with that person. The Lord was looking out for me, whispering in my ear. And that's what that was. So, I mean, the whole idea of his, when he talks about hypergamy and this, that, and the other, that's what he's talking about. But he went on further with his whole hypergamous rant. So let's take a listen to what he has to say about that.
Husband and wife get married, and our culture, modern Christian America, from sometime around 17 whatever, or Plymouth Rock 16 whatever, we've been this monogamous culture that says a husband and wife. Well, you know what really sucks is if you marry the wrong person and you can't get out of that mess. Or if you marry the right person, they change drastically and you can't get out of that mess. modern society right now, men and women can make the same amount of money. You don't need to be behind a plow, so you don't need a lot of muscle to be very, very successful in modern society. So men and women, sadly, don't need each other. Considering myself still Christian with an open mind, I'm like going, yeah, Jesus says the man isn't without the woman, the woman isn't without the man. But having been divorced, I'm like going, wow, I wouldn't want to keep that woman in this mess with me. And I sure as hell don't want to be in that mess with her. Husband and wife get married.
And as I was saying, sometimes stupid shit is stupid shit. Men and women don't need each other now because they don't push plows. Dudes, you should turn your lawnmower on and lay down in front of it. Like, yeah, what are you talking about? We don't need each other. We do need each other. People need people. It's all of a sudden, because you having a bad go of it, nobody should be together anymore. And that's part of the problem with him and his kids. Like, oh, because I'm not getting along with my wives, then my son's out there getting a pencil wet. Like, you have to look at it for what it is. People are people. Now, when it comes to whether men need women, okay, fine. You may not need somebody out, sowing grass or planting seed all day and harvesting fields all week and doing that for months at a time so that you can prepare for the winter so that way your town can survive. Okay, fine. We don't have those needs, but we still need each other in a sense that we need that human companionship. Now, with that being said, what most of these people are actually complaining about is that you actually have to have game. When I hear people complain about the new age woman or the modern woman, and the woman don't need the men, and the men got to find a way, and they trying to destroy the masculinity, and the women ain't womanized and feminized and all that other stuff, what they're actually saying is that men actually have to step their damn game up. You actually have to become emotionally intelligent. You can't rely on the fact that you are providing for this woman her needs and the things that she wants for herself and for her children solely as a means of control of that person in that time. That's what that means. So when you have the technological advancements that you have, women have opportunities that they have currently and hopefully will improve in the future. As that stuff starts to grow, what you become is no longer a necessity, but you become a want or an option. Now, when you become a want or an option, you have to make yourself appealing. You have to make yourself more desirable for these women to want to spend time with you. That's the whole point. You can't rely on the fact that I have a nice car, I live in a big house, and I have a great job, so therefore I'm going to have my pick of the ladies. You actually have to be a person who women want to be with because they have their own house, their cars, and their great jobs. So now you have to work on yourself to become something that they choose to spend time with. And many of these small-minded Neanderthals don't have the wherewithal to be able to put that together so they can figure out how to improve themselves, so they can improve their chances, so they have the opportunity to meet the type of people they want to meet and spend time with. But yet and still, he's a smart guy and he's a thought leader. Come on, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are you serious? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, I would love nothing more. Like, forget the tell-all. I would genuinely enjoy having a true discussion with Cody where we're actually exchanging ideas, where I could get into how he feels about things and why he feels about stuff, and I can demonstrate to him why he's so stupid. Or more to the point, why his premises are wrong and why his facts are wrong. Like, you're basing a lot of his opinions. He's basing a lot of his opinions on false generalities, stereotypes that no longer hold sway, and an idealized version of history that never existed. There's a group of people who believe that women relied on men 100% and they did a Susie homemaker and they just stayed home while men went out and worked, and men brought home the bacon and women fried it up in the pan. In most situations, that what we've grown up, I'll strike that, redirect. what I'll say is this. We've developed that imagery from television shows. Much like we've developed our understanding of what the Wild West looked like through television shows and movies. If people wanted to get in a shootout with each other, they didn't call each other out into the street and say, hey, I'll see you at high noon. We're going to walk 10 paces, turn around, and shoot. That's not what happened in the Wild West. You know what happened in the Wild West? The same thing that happens now. It happens the same thing that happens now. One guy with a gun tried to shoot another guy with a gun. 9 times out of 10, he shot him in the back when he didn't even know it was coming. Or they jumped him outside or whatever. Rochelle J. But even a farmer came home and spent time with his wife and children. Kotex just attached to his pencil and the pencil box. Dude is the Lulu. Yeah, see, and I agree with you, Rochelle. Like, I think at the end of the day, yeah, the guys, they might have been working all day, but you technically would have had about 18, 19 kids because you were birthing farmhands. That was the other part of it. You weren't just having kids because you were trying to expand the family and grow the wealth and you know, for your ego. You were having helpers. You were having workers. You were birthing a workforce. That's why people were having 15, 16 kids. Not to mention the fragility of human mortality during that time where people were dying. So you were not only birthing a workforce, but you were birthing their replacements in the event that something happened. But again, the idealized version of what we thought, you know, the Leave It to Beavers and the Cosby Show and all that, where the wives, the husbands went out and the wives stay home. I guess the Cosby Show isn't really that much of the case because she actually had a high-powered job too. But in most cases, a lot of these women were also working. Who do you think was going to watch other people's kids? Who do you think when the guy was going down to the factory to work in the factories, in some cases the women were working right next to him or working in the offices with the bosses. They were in there stitching clothes. They were in there sewing. They were in there cooking. They were doing things not only for the family, but they were doing things to help provide for the family in ways in which they could, because people were poor. And we like to look at this idealized version of what we think traditional families look like, but that's not how families functioned. It's just not. Like, I mean, I understand the romanticism of it, but that's not what it was. Women have worked, just like men have worked. And we work together to try to make our families and our situations and our experiences as wholesome as we possibly could, but we can't diminish the contribution that these ladies were making because we like to pretend that men were the only ones out there hunting and gathering. When the men were out there hunting, the women were home doing things, preparing the houses. They were tilling fields. They were doing things. They were working. They weren't just sitting around a damn campfire waiting for the dude to bring home the meat so they could throw it into a skillet. That's not what was happening. But that's the approach that Cody is taking. And he takes the idealized version because he's taking that idealized version. He believes that these women don't need us anymore because they can't sit at home and we can't go get a job and force them to stay at home. Now, in Cody's, not in his defense, in support of what he's saying, I'll say it that way, when you look at his situation with Christine, that makes perfect sense because of the way he tried to approach Christine. Christine, if you leave, then I'm going to take everything from you and try to start you back over. So I'm going to start you from scratch. You leave me, I'm taking your house. And I'm going to strip out all the money and all the things that you own. I'm going to take half your stuff, which is a huge burden. I'm going to take half of everything you own, which will start you at nothing. And then I'm going to tie the home ownership and the proceeds from your house into property that you're never going to live on. And then I'm never going to sell, so you'll never be able to get that money. And he tried to start her over so that he could control her financially. And this is also part of the reason, Cody, why so many people disagree with the idea of polygamy, because so much of what people imagine polygamy to be is rooted into that type of patriarchy where you're controlling these women through financial means and financial restraints. You use the dollar as a yoke to control these ladies. And that's why so many people are against it. Simple as that. And that's why so many people were against him. Take a look at some of this. Yep. And you know what? And I'll even say this. One of the other things that kind of trips me out as well is the idea of people talking about when they talk about male female relationships or typically it's hetero relationships. But when they talk about these romantic relationships in that form, typically what they will say is that it's a lot like the animal kingdom. And I despise the animal kingdom argument because one of the things that they always say, especially these polygamous type people, and I've heard Cody say it, was men and women are a lot like polygamists are like lions. And if you look at the wild kingdom, like he's the king of the jungle. And the king of the jungle will have a bunch of wives that he takes care of and provides for and takes care of. And he's ruling the Serengeti with blah, 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 blah. First of all, lions live on the plains. Tigers live in jungles. So if you go to, I understand that it's a saying and people think it's cute. But if we're gonna start making these kind of analogies, at least let's get the location right. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that the lion is out playing with snowballs and building igloos. Like, that's not, that's not the case because they don't live in places that are that cold. So, lions live on a plain. Secondly, when we talk about the pride, and yes, there are situations where lions have a lot of lionesses. But if you look at the pride and how it functions, the lionesses do all the work. They raise the kids. They hunt. The male lions rarely, if ever, hunt. The lionesses are the hunting pack. They're the ones that catch the food. And then they catch it, kill it, and because the male lion defends the pride, they let him come over and get his fill. And he's supposed to keep everything else from eating off of what they catch. So he has to go out there. Him and his brother got to go out and fight. Now, here's the crazy part. As soon as he runs his gamut and he is no longer useful to those lionesses, they will put his ass out. Him and his broke down brother. Got to hit the road. And they'll bring somebody else in, take care of the pride. That's how prides are run. People have the illusion that prides are run in a patriarchal organization. They're not. They're not. And it's funny to me that Cody takes such strong pride in his understanding of not only nature, but the nature of man. And I think it's funny. Now, the next one I wanted to do was actually him talking about hypergamy and how it relates to his family. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
You get a guy who's high performance, great guy, treats his wife like a queen. There are going to be other women who want to be treated by that guy that way. And I kind of feel like that's how my family came together, at least a little bit, where I had a couple of wives that came into the family saying, I like what's going on here. I want to be part of it.
Yeah, I had a bunch of wives who saw me doing my thing, and they liked it. They said they want to be a part of it because I was pimp daddy. No, you wasn't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. The only one. What kills me is like the transference that he has. Like he'll reassign like certain attributes from one wife to the other wives, and that he doesn't like. So he says that, oh, they saw that I was treating these ladies so good. So you're saying that Janelle was sitting there with you living in her house and decided that, wow, he's really treating Mary really well by renting this house from me. Yeah, I got to get a part of that. Got to get a piece of that. Or Christine, you know, while you guys were living in a trailer, Christine said, "Oh, I'm a mac on this dude, and we can all live in a trailer together." The only person that you could actually legitimately make that argument about is Robin. Oh, he's treating these wives so well, and therefore I want to be a part of that situation. I hear that he has a TV show about to jump off, so I want to be a part of that TV show because that's what I want to do. And if he treats me as well as he treats them, I'll be able to take care of myself and my kids. But he's not going to assign that to Robin. And the part that's funny to me is that didn't we just hear a part where he was saying that some foolishness about stoicism and not crap talking one another and all that other shit? Apparently, shit talking only matters when people are talking about him. But he can refer to any one of them that he so chooses. When he talks about these other women, he's just being fair. He's just talking about what happened. When they talk about him, they're destroying his life and taking his kids away and making everybody else dislike him. And that's part of the reason why nobody likes him. Because he doesn't take it into account who he is and what he has going on. It's just, I don't know. It's such a frustrating situation. Such a frustrating situation. And of course, here's the part where some people brought this up. Because part of who Cody is, when he's looking at himself through the lens of how he's perceived by other people, that to me seems to be the most important thing for him. Part of the reason why he conducted the interview the way he did, where he was trying to direct and control what questions were being asked, what information is being passed, what we're going to talk about, how we're going to talk about it. If you start to ask me a question, I'm going to cut you off and then try to ask myself the question that I want to answer. That's how he pretty much conducted this interview. Even down to a lot of the things that he was doing. The fact that he had the convertible Lexus. He had like at least 3 convertible Lexuses that he owned. And these type of cars and the jewelry and the watches and the house that he's living in that was paid $1 million for, and the house that he insisted that Janelle get. And even this week when we watch him go over to Janelle's apartment and he's sitting there looking around with the stank face around her apartment because it's beneath him and his standards. Everything that he does is about how other people will take him or interpret him based on some foolish ass stereotypical cutout that he's made for himself. And that's what I think we see with a lot of this. So with all that being said, there was one point where people had talked about, well, you know, when you talk about polygamy, I guess at some point you would have been considered successful at polygamy. And how do you feel about that? And he gives this answer that I think is very interesting. We can take a quick listen to. Again, I encourage folks to go back and watch the original podcast because you'll get more context, because I am pulling a lot of this stuff and kind of mixing it around. And there's points where it can be a little dry because, like I said, Cody is trying to evade so many of the questions that these two gentlemen are trying to ask him, and he's trying not to give off too much information because he's afraid he's going to get caught and people are going to figure out who he is. So, with that being said, let's take a listen to what Cody had to say with regard to where he was, his status, and how hypergamy played a role in him getting his family that he had in the origins of the Brown family.
You get a guy who's high performance, great guy, treats his wife like a queen. There are going to be
there was some time ago at the beginning of the TV program, when other people would have looked at you and thought that you were a success. And you may have thought you were a success yourself at the time.
Oh, I thought I was a total success. I have a diesel jeans model coming into my family in 2010. And I thought that was the biggest validation. She had other people in our church interested in her. She had offers from other people to marry her. And she absolutely believed in plural marriage, and she absolutely believed in me. She believed in our faith, and she came into our family with great hopes that in her mind now, I don't want to speak for her because she's not here and I don't want her to have to be interviewed, but I believe that she feels like she was naive. She's almost embarrassed by how naive she was when she came in our family. No, she's not opposed to the lifestyle. She always pushed me to fix things. I had a wife who kicked me out of the house, and she says, "You go sleep on that couch. You get in her face. You tell her you love her. You get back with it." I'm like, "I'm not doing that. That's the walk of shame." I'm like, she can ask me to come back. And she was always supportive of the relationship. She wanted me to push to have it go through, but she wasn't ready to see it dissolve. And I think I just came to a point where I was like cynical enough to go, this is going. I came to the point where I felt like the lifestyle was going to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Oh, big shout out to Crystal Plant. Well, yeah, Crystal's Panda with the super chat. Love you, Tate James. Cheers to you, new live show. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. HBO special. That's right. Give me that HBO special. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button and subscribe button and hooking that up for me. Appreciate you. Just drop one in there. But as things turn out, one of the points that I was going to make, and one of the things that I felt was so funny, was him doing the humble brag. Yeah, I thought I was doing pretty good. I had myself a diesel model and a diesel jean model. Being on Instagram with a pair of pants don't make you a model. I'm just saying. Like, I've never seen a picture of her anywhere in a professional formatted photo shoot. I could be wrong. Maybe she was a diesel model and I just didn't see it, or I can't find it, or I don't know where it is. Maggie Bridget, thank you so much for the super chat. It said, "Is Cody serious? When was Robin a diesel jeans model?" That's what I'm saying. I don't know. And I would think that just like we found out that she was like in a one episode of like some rando ass TV show, she played like a nurse. You need a stethoscope, doctor, or something, 3 lines or whatever. Like, she was in one of those. And you would think that if she was a full-blown model, like a real model, not an Instagram model, not an OnlyFans model, not a, I don't know, Utah calendar girl, you would have heard something about it. Or you would at least think that during some of the, especially some of the earlier tell-alls, when they were talking to her, they would have said something to the effect of, "Well, you were a model at one point, right? Or you're a retired," like, I think he's like, "Yeah, she was a retired diesel jean model." Like, if that's what she was doing, then why wasn't she doing that when she started the show? Where was she at? Why wasn't she going out and she was modeling that whole time? She could have modeled when you bring your kids to Utah, let them hang out at Lehigh with the other wives, you go out and make some of that bread doing your model gigs. She wasn't talking about none of that stuff. She didn't say anything about that. And that would have even been a thing that I think she would have been able to bring up. You know what I mean? Like, if she was sitting there and she was a diesel jean model, or she was a model, then she could have said something to the effect of, "Well, I was just hoping that, I could get back into modeling and I could bring in some money." Because all she said, especially, I think it was season 1, when she had moved down from, or season 2, when she had moved down and she was talking about getting married. No, it was season 1. When she talked about moving down and she was talking about Janelle, and she said, "I just want to do something great and wonderful that I could bring in a whole bunch of money, that I can show these people that I'm worth something." that would have been a time when she could have said, you know, something like I was doing before, where I was a diesel jean model and I was making a ton of money doing that. Like, you don't model, be a Ford model, and all of a sudden you be like, yeah, I decided I was just going to bag groceries. Like, no, you do what you can do. Especially if you pressed about money. And he said it like she was doing it when he met her. Like, oh, she's a diesel jean model. You know, I'm dating a Playboy bunny. Call Hugh Hefner. Well, I mean, I guess if you call Hugh Hefner now, you need one of the Ouija boards. No disrespect to the dead, but I'm just saying, like, it's just crazy to me. And like I said, it turns into a humble brag where he's saying that he was in such strong position and he was such a man of stature that he was able to get this supermodel who had all this interest from all these other men who were doing much better than him financially. And because he was such a player and he was taking such good care of his family, she decided to go out with him. I would look at him at that moment and say, bruh, if we were friends, and I guess I'm using that, I'm stretching that a little bit. If is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. If we were friends, and if I was sitting there talking to you about a young lady like Robin, one of the things that I would point out if I was your friend is, bruh, it seems kind of funny to me that all of a sudden she's taking such strong interest in you. Not that you're not a nice guy, not that you're not a wonderful person, but it's just funny to me that all of a sudden you have Sister Wives TLC TV show talking about putting you in the fam on TV, and you have this this former diesel jean model who wants to be in Hollywood. All of a sudden she's interested in you. Not saying that you're not a wonderful guy. I'm just saying maybe take a look around, bruh. That's all I would say. Maybe take a look around. Because even according to your mindset, talking about hypergamy, she would be interested in you because she gets some kind of advantage from that. And maybe that's the ironic part about it is that's something I had not considered. Maybe that's why he accepts the fact that Robin is kind of a gold digger. At least in my view. That Robin's a gold digger. Because in his mindset, of course she's a gold digger because all women are gold diggers. And therefore, if I have gold to be dug, why shouldn't I let a former diesel model put the pickaxe in my back and try to get as much gold as she can out of my pockets? Makes sense to me. Me, from my perspective, from my peace of mind, I tend to look for something a little more fundamental and something a little more meaningful than Robums. Love it. Than Robums sitting there using me for money. I'm a weird person. Like I'm an odd guy. What's this? Rochelle J with the super chat. The only time Simon was modeling Diesel was when she spilled some gas on her jeans. You know, Kotex was pumping, but not her gas. I agree with that. I agree with that. But I'm a weird dude. Like I'm funny that way because I have friends who would like to go to what we used to call back in the day the shaky butt. They go to the strip clubs or whatever, right? And I still want to do. I'll probably do a live tomorrow about 90 Day Fiance. Hopefully you guys can tune in. I'll be talking about this dude named Jovi who basically blew his marriage up over the strip club. And my position on it is simply this. I don't mind going out doing activities. I'm an activity guy. I don't like just going to the bar, sitting on the bar stool, throwing back beers or booze. I like doing activities. So I like karaoke. I like to dance. I like to, do other stuff other than just sitting around drinking. And I have buddies, especially when I was younger, not so much now. But when I was younger, I had buddies go to strip club. I was never really a big strip club fan. And some people would say I'm not a strip club fan because of the misogyny that's involved with watching women dance for money, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it was deeper than that, or it was more than that. I personally just didn't like paying people for time. I didn't like paying a woman to choose to spend time with me because I have a stack of bills in front of me. That's just me, though. I never liked that part of it. Where, as long as you got a stack of money, you're interested. But the minute your stack of money is going, all of a sudden, You know, they ain't got no time for you. I don't like those type of relationships. So I was never really a big fan of spending my time, money, or whatever in those establishments. Now I've been, of course, because I'm a dude and I'm a dummy. But when push comes down to shove, when I think of like Cody's, even his term of hypergamy and how he sees it, then you're accepting of the fact that somebody is using you and spending time with you for what you have and not for who you are. But then what kills me is these are the same people that will be crying and sitting on a bar stool somewhere, blowing out tears and blowing snot bubbles, wanting to complain and talk to me about how it's not fair that this woman doesn't want to spend time with them because they lost their job. Or when Cody loses his show, all of a sudden Robin's going to get the big divorce and she going to, you know, he's going to get more than 2 big D's. He's going to get that divorce and he's going to get screwed because she's going to take him under and she's going to strip him out. And when it happens, he's going to be sitting there saying it's not fair and it's not right and how I thought she was loyal to me and I thought she had feelings for me. But you spent this whole time talking about how hypergamous women were by nature. So I just don't understand that. And so when you go out and you look for a woman who is of a certain status or stature, that becomes a transactional relationship in the sense that Cody is thinking that because he's doing well financially, he deserves to have a woman who's representative of how well he's doing financially. So he's using her because she's attractive and she's using him because he has money. Now, if she's still attractive enough to where she can go out and get other people, then you can't be surprised when she does that. Just like when you used your money to get a woman who you thought was more attractive than your wives. What goes around comes around. And that's another reason why I don't believe in that. Don't blame me, don't blame you, and don't blame nobody. Everybody be stoic bullshit. You have to understand where you are and what it is you're doing. I've been going after a sister's boyfriend. I did hear that. There was for those who don't know, there was a thing where they were saying that Robin, her ex-husband, was actually somebody whom her sister was interested in dating and going out with. And she pursued him, got pregnant, and then she took basically her ex-husband from her sister. And, you know, because she thought he had that paper. But then I guess she found Cody. And she upgraded him. And the problem with that is, how you get your man, how you get your woman is the same way you lose your man or you lose your woman. Because if they are going to cheat with you, they will cheat on you. So that's just something that I would express to Cody. But again, I guess I'm not a stoic. So me and Cody wouldn't be able to talk about that. Okay. I've just read a random thing. Shay said, find me a man who genuinely loves to take a woman dance and his dance car will be filled by me. I heard that. Like I said, I'm an activity guy. I like to do the activities. Because it's just fun that way. Like just getting bombed out is not as much fun. Okay. So we did the humble accept. Now here's one of my favorites. This is I think that guy's name is Nathan. His friend. Again, this is like some of these people, I know who he's talking about because I've seen the show. And the hosts of the podcast don't necessarily know who they're talking about because they're not familiar with the show. But I am. Let's take a listen to what my man had to say when he was talking about his buddy who got divorced. Now, this is actually, I wish I loaded the picture up. This is actually Mary's brother-in-law. A guy who's married to Mary's sister. He was a polygamist too. Then his wife deuced out and took off on him and left him in the same situation Cody was in. For those familiar with the show, this is the guy that was in that truck with Cody when they were sitting around, driving around town looking like Dumb and Dumber, having a conversation about Cody leaving his wives or wives leaving him. And he talked about leaving Robin and bump this. And I'm so mad. And I'm talking about leaving the only 2 people in the world who care about me are Solomon and Ariel. And now Robin's supposedly scared that he's leaving, which she should be, because my man ain't doing well. But let's take a listen to that, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
I had a friend one time when I was complaining about the struggles, this disparity in polygamy. And I'm like, listen, this disparity in fairness in plural marriage is just too much. And he said, no, he's a former polygamist, and he would be still if he hadn't had a wife leave. He said, there is no disparity in fairness if there's not a disparity in choice. In other words, if that woman can choose to be in your family or out of your family, then there's no disparity. She chooses to be part of a plural family, or she chooses not to be. Now, the problem is.
Now, before we get into Cody trying to both sides this shit, let's just talk about what he just said. The disparagement of unfairness. These two Nimrods have these little sayings, that sacred loneliness and all that other foolishness. They always try to dress up some bullshit to make it smell better. Look, it's unfair because of the way you ninnies pursue it. It is inherently unfair. It's inherently unfair to everybody involved. Now, here's the crazy part. In my humble opinion, and I know Cody doesn't want to care about this because it's just a theory, and he has the experience, but in my experience, limited experience, and my humble opinion based on my theory, I think that polygamy in and of itself, polygamy or polygyny, when you have a woman doing the same thing with multiple husbands, I think it's unfair to everyone involved. I certainly think it's unfair to the children, because if you have multiple children over multiple parents, those children, a lot of times their needs are not being met by the parent that they need to be dealing with, because you're spread thin. Like, you only have 24 hours in a day. I don't give a shit how good you are at math. You only got 24 hours in a day. So if you have 20 children, you have to sleep, you have to eat. Hopefully at some point during the day, you're going to do some type of work or something, and maybe take time to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. So with that being said, you don't have time to be able to dedicate any substantial amount of time or meaningful time with these people whom you've created. So it's not fair to the children, especially if you're poor. Let's keep it all the way straight. Let's keep it all the way a stack. Especially if your ass is broke. It's not fair to the kids because somebody's going without. It's not fair to the wives. In a case of polygamy, it's not fair to the wives that you have a bunch of women who are sitting around waiting and pining for you to spend time with them or have their needs met by somebody who is distracted by somebody else. Now, in Cody's case, what he said was, it really benefits because if you have an argument with one wife, you can leave that wife and then go sit up and have a vacation basically with the next wife. The problem with that mentality is that while you're out there, say you have an argument with Christine, to cite an example, you have a disagreement with her, you could go sit over at Robin's house and you're on vacation. The problem is that Christine is still dealing with that problem by herself, and she's having to work it out by herself. This is seen or illustrated by her experience with Cody and dealing with Isabel and other issues that she's had when she was dealing with Truly. Robin and Cody were still spending time together. Cody was still going over, spending the night over at the other wives' houses. Christine was just dealing with that by herself. And it's not fair. And when they start talking about the sacred loneliness, oh, well, we have the sacred loneliness and they get to spend time and go to the place and they should be happy and praying and getting closer to God. That's not a time to get close. Because the person that they should be growing with, developing with, and exploring with is spending time with somebody else. And they are growing and developing separate from you. Which means that when you guys come back together, the more time you spend apart, the further you're going to be apart as far as your mentality, your goals, your ambitions, etc., etc. So a lot of this doesn't make sense to me. especially as I'm listening to him describe it. And because he's taught, like I said, I'm a little more familiar with the dude Nathan and his positions than these two gentlemen are. So I don't necessarily fault them for not being able to snap on them and say, yo, this doesn't make sense. But, bruh, it doesn't make sense.
Is when you're choosing to be part of a plural family, you're usually young, you might not have children, you don't even know what it's like to live with that other woman.
You don't even
Or
know who
with that
you
husband.
are, and you don't even know who the people you're entering this group relationship with are. I mean,
Who knows like let's not count how many times any of us have been divorced, but anybody who's been divorced just goes, wait, I just didn't know that person, or they changed. And you when you're courting and you're dating somebody, it is absolutely best foot forward. And my family got beautifully lucky for first few years of our TV show, because we were putting our best foot forward. We were trying really hard to be a good plural family. And it was a good honeymoon experience because we worked hard to do it. But there's always the undertones. And here's the thing, when you're in a marriage, and it's good marriage, you can mess up and you'll forgive each other. You got a husband and wife just going.
All right, it's hard to listen to a lot of this because of the fact that he talks in a circle so much, and this is part of the reason why I played it as long as I did is because I wanted to give you guys a kind of a feel for what was happening during the course of the interview. He was talking in a big, huge circle about a whole bunch of shit that had nothing to do with none of the stuff that they were actually asking him. Like, he talked so much, I forgot what the guy actually asked him. I forgot what the question was. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, because we were in there. By the time we got together, it was like it's like listening to somebody who's struggling mentally. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, you might be sick. You start off down one path, next thing you know, you telling the story about how you brushed your teeth at the gas station. Like, what are you talking about? I thought we were talking, man, because that one time I was out and I was riding a horse and I fell off that horse. You must have hit your head. Because none of this makes any sense. Now, the whole idea of it is that he's trying to express that this is, like I said, walking on both sides of the street. On one end, he's trying to say that, yeah, the women have the sacred loneliness and it's a higher calling for you to want to be by yourself while your man is out stooping somebody else behind the bleachers. That makes you a saint because you're willing to tolerate that and put up with it. Would you tolerate that from one of your wives if she was knocking off the mailman, or the mailman rings twice, the maintenance man was coming by tightening up her pipes, whatever? Would you handle that okay? Would you have the sacred loneliness to be able to get closer to whatever deity you pray to? I doubt it. I damn doubt it. And this is the language of those who are in power. Because when you have power and you're winning, it's easy for you to come up with a bunch of dumb shit for rules for other people to live by. When you're getting everything you want, when you off and you're screwing 3 and 4 women at a time, and your wives are only sleeping with you and only have sexual outlet with you because you're all they have, then yeah, it's easy for you to come up with a whole bunch of rules that don't make sense. Because your needs are being met. Christine, when she was sitting there, and I'm proud of Christine for putting it where the goats could get it. You talking about, oh, we not going to have an intimate relationship no more. Than she was like, then you need to be up out my house. And one of my favorite lines of Sister Wives of all time is, no, you can't come in my bedroom because in my bedroom is where special things happen and don't nothing special happen between us. And anybody in the know knows exactly what that means. She was like, I got dust developing, and I need somebody to come along now to dust up off this bad boy. And that's when my main Dave Willie said, look, I got my dustpan right here, baby. He went there and took care of it for her. Could tighten up. So it is what it is. Actually, to a question, somebody asked if the interviewers were part of the polygamy cult. From my understanding, they weren't in the polygamy cult. they were in like a polygamy cult. Wow. They weren't in a fundamentalist group. They were part of the Latter-day Saints group. And I think, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, that they may have broke away from the faith. So they're kind of in that, limbo area where they're still a part of the church, but they're not a part of the church. They have the studying and the knowledge because they were a part of it, but I think they've kind of parted ways with some of the belief systems. I could be wrong. Yeah, right. So nothing happened here, and and if you're not taking care of your business, and it all like, and one of the things that always kind of bothered me with the sister wives is that they always kind of broke it down to like, oh, you can't tell me what to do sexually, and this is my sex life, and I can sleep with whoever I want to sleep with, etc., etc., etc. And then turn it into a sexual thing, and then blame everybody else for turning it into a sexual thing. My disagreement with polygamy, as I stated before, is not the idea that you sleeping with a bunch of people. You can sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. That's not my problem. That's not my issue. The only issue and the only problem that I'll have with regard to pretending to be married is that it gives these ladies a false sense of security when it comes to their financial status within the marriage. They start to think that because he calls me his wife, and because we have so many kids together, and because we even cohabitate to a point with one another, that I have something to my name. And in most cases, most of the people who are involved in these relationships are not situated or similarly situated to Janelle, to where you, or Christine, where you get a divorce from him and you have your own house and you have your own stuff that you can take and go with. What happens in most of these situations, like if they wouldn't have had this TV show, or more to the point, had this show been canceled back when they were talking about canceling this show the first time, their financial situation and outlook would be completely different. They would be financially ruined, which means that the ladies would have to make a more calculated decision on whether they leave or they stay. It's not just a matter of whether I leave or I stay because this dude doesn't make me happy. Do I leave or do I stay? Because if I leave, I don't have anywhere to go. And my kids don't have anywhere to go. And because we haven't come to a point in our legislative actions as far as polygamy is concerned, then I don't feel comfortable with allowing this to happen on a legalized basis, because these ladies and these kids, more importantly the kids especially, will get screwed over. And so that's just my perspective on it. Let me see what else he had to say about this, because I think,
yeah, we love each other. So, baby, I'm sorry I did that, and oh, I forgive you, and that works. The minute you divorce, or you're getting divorced, or you're looking for a reason to divorce, you forget to cover that sin with charity, and all of a sudden you want to tell everybody. And so what'll happen is, when a couple divorce, they might have looked like they had a great marriage before, but once they're divorced, they're both telling you how awful the other person was, because they're no longer willing to cover each other's mistakes with a cloak of charity. And that's kind of the world I live in right now. And so it's retrospectively, there is a struggle and a place where you're like, wow, this was an experiment. And when I talk about cult light, nobody in plural marriage who's struggling tells you to be careful here or there. I married 3 women that I courted for 4 months, 5 months or less. I knew them maybe longer than that, but as far as a courtship, one courtship was for 5 months. One courtship was for 1 month, and another courtship I think was for 2 months. My 4th wife, we courted for 10 months, but nobody in our church told us kind of what we were getting into. So that's why I'm thinking kind of culty thought processes, because there were tons of people who were either in the process of failing in plural marriage or had failed in it, who were still promoting it in our church. But our church's main focus was probably plural marriage. I wish that it would have been more Christ-centered, but it really seemed to be sort of
I'm sorry, I can't do it. Like I can't do it. I fucking try. I tried to do it. I tried to do it. Like, yeah, I agree. One month, 2 months that you know somebody, you gonna marry them. That's crazy as hell. And then you wonder why your relationships don't work out. It's a crapshoot that you be able to make a life decision within 2 months. I'm gonna be with this person for the rest of my life. How long you known them? A week and a half. Like what? But this guy, he kills me, and that's the whole interview, really. And that's the sad part about it, because he did have an opportunity to be able to have a stronger outlook for some of the things that they were talking about if they were able to actually nail down what it is he was saying and what he was talking about and kind of pull him back. Cody needs a leash. And I noticed that even with some of the interaction that he was having with the wives during the show, is that some of the wives kind of fall into that part where they have to tell him to shut up, or they try to censor him, or the show will go back and cut some of the conversation. You can tell it's a cut. And I think part of the reason why there's such a cut is because Cody starts rambling, and he starts going off on like a whole bunch of stuff that don't have nothing to do with nothing that he's talking about. And by the time he gets done, he's all the way in left field, and everybody else is, playing a different damn sport. Like, what are you talking about? So that's kind of where I see that whole conversation with him as far as that was concerned. I just wanted to give everybody kind of a taste of what it was like for them to sit there and try to listen to what he's talking about. These guys, like I said, they don't strike me as being guys who are easily fooled. So Cody's sense of bullshit, or at least his brand of bullshit, isn't really going a long way with these two guys. Like, because they're listening to him talk, and he's saying, yeah, even though I married my wives and I only knew them for a couple months, and I knew them for a few months, and I married them, I'm still going to sit here and talk about how they're not loyal to me, they're not faithful to me, and how they were so wrong for leaving me and not having a marriage work out. But at the same time, I'm mad at the people at the church because they didn't counsel us to be able to keep a marriage and a relationship going the way it should have been going. And you shouldn't do it because you're too young to do it, and you shouldn't be allowed to do it until you're at least 35. That's what one of the guys actually said. He said that, in my opinion, I don't think that you should be able to enter into one of these types of relationships until you actually know yourself and you have a better idea of who you are and how to deal with relationships in general. I agree with that. I still kind of lean towards, like, you really have to be careful about who you tie your wagon to, because even if you're mature enough to be able to pull it off, like, I don't think that it's something that absolutely positively can't be done. However, it's kind of like one of them Evel Knievel things. For those not familiar, Evel Knievel was a stuntman back in the 70s and 80s, I think it was. And this guy used to just basically take take the fastest motorcycle he could get. He'd take a ramp, put it up against anything, a building, a cliff, jump a bunch of school buses, helicopters, whatever. And he would just basically look down the end of the ramp and throw his bike down there as fast as he could. Now, he crashed a lot and got jacked up. I think he broke every bone in his body at least 3-4 times. And the truth of the matter is that when you do that kind of thing, you could do it, and there's a possibility you could make it. If you know somebody for 3 months and you want to marry 3 or 4 women, I mean, it could work. But you're kind of like Evel Knievel standing at the top of that ramp, doing a thumb test. Like, yeah, who knows whether that shit is going to work or not? Like, you just throwing your body down as fast as you can. Not the smartest thing in the world to do, is all I'm saying. So, you have that issue. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was Cody and his sacrifice. Because Cody, when he was working with these ladies, he gave up a lot too. Everybody on this live is focusing on these women and how much they... Excuse me, I'm sorry. Everybody on this live, James, take 2. Everybody on this live is focusing on these women and how much they gave up and sacrificed in their sacred loneliness. But nobody ever really considered what it cost Cody and how he dealt with the struggles of plural marriage. But he talked about it on this podcast. Let's take a listen.
A woman who shares her husband has given so much that in the path to perfection, sometimes she might feel like that's enough. I felt like I was constantly doing this dance where I was like, hey, are you okay? Are you happy? I want you to be happy. I'm just trying to make everybody happy all the time. And it's kind of like running around all the time trying to keep everybody happy. And that was my job. And their job wasn't to keep me happy, even though, as a smart woman, that's going to work better for you. But they felt like they had given enough. And so
see how much Cody had to suffer dealing with these women? Nobody give him credit for him having to go around and try to entertain these women and keep smiles on their faces. You know who else does that goes unappreciated? Clowns. Look, if you walking around all the time, like I'm a happy dude. Like I like to think I'm a happy guy. And I always tell people, I tell my kids, everybody, like the one thing that you can control in life is your attitude of how you deal with things, right? You don't have to be sad, mad, glad, whatever. You can control how you feel about things and what you do about stuff. Things are going to happen to you. You can't control the world. You can't control life. Life is going to life. But you can control how you deal with it. Now, with that being said, you're going to have days when you up and you're going to have days when you down. And for you to walk around thinking that you always going to be smiling and everything's going to be okay, only people who smile all the time are basically two folks. Crazy people and idiots. Those are the only people who just walk around all day with a big grin on their face. Crazy people and idiots. Cody treated his wives as though they were crazy or idiots. Because I had to walk around all day, and because they're sacrificing my time, this is what Cody is saying, because they're sacrificing their time with me, and they have the sacred loneliness, they feel like they've done enough, because they've sacrificed that. But they don't recognize how much I have to give of myself by going to each one of these women's houses and being a part of these situations and dealing with their problems. So they're troubling me with their issues, their problems, and I have to deal with it all by myself until I'm lonesome, and it's not fair and it's not right. That's stupid. Okay? You deal with people. Now, here's what in my mind would have made it more successful. If there are going to be times when you're in a monogamous relationship, that's where my experience, you have a monogamous relationships and you're dealing with somebody and you guys are having a good time or something happens within that relationship where they're going through some type of struggle, you're being there, being present for those issues and for those tough times as well as the good times is what makes your relationship work. Now, if you only want to come around when the times are good and when they say that they're struggling with something, you're trying to make sure that they're happy and that they're walking out with a smile on their face, and every time you come over, you expect to see them smiling and grinning because you're here now and you don't want to hear about their problems because you only get so much time with them and they have to respect your time and your presence, then you're not experiencing the full depth and breadth of a relationship. Because the full depth and breadth of a relationship is the good times and the bad times. It's all of it. It's all of it. It's not just when your babies are born, but it's when your parents die. That's the relationship. You need people in your life in both those situations. Not just for the weddings, but you need them there for the funerals. That's what it's about. And in Cody's mind, and at least in the way he's talking about his approach on this podcast, his approach is, is that I only want to be here for the good times because our time together is so short, and I want to make sure it's something memorable and special, and we have a good time with each other when we're together. I don't want to be with you and cry. I want to be with you during the happy times. You should be making my life easier, not sad. But the problem I have with that is that in that instance, it's not a matter of easy or sad. These women want to spend their life with you, their life experience with you, and you denied yourself the privilege and the majesty of being able to spend your life with them, because that's what it's about. You know what I mean? If I can do bad by myself, I damn sure can do good alone. Like, you know, I don't need company to do good. Shit, who can't do good by themselves? You know what I mean? The time you really need people is when you need people. That's when you need your loved one. When you have a problem, and if, you know, you have an issue, like when they were having, just as an example, the call from this show, and I hate to keep bringing up the same children all the time, but these are the ones we know about. If you're having an issue with Truly or Isabel, because Christine is a little more open and she left, when you're having issues with them, then it makes sense to me that you would want to have those conversations, those tough conversations, those heartfelt conversations. Hell, you might want to break down, in Christine's case, you might want to break down and cry and just be held by your husband. But your husband is too busy. Well, you know, I can't spend time with you because it's Robin's night. Or I can't spend time with you because it's Mary or Janelle's night. And where I think the breakdown of their family came in is that the wives in that situation have to show compassion to one another. So in that instance, if you are in that type of relationship and one wife is going through something, especially involving children, I mean, for goodness sakes, children, like something happens to your kid, like I said, Robin, Mary, Janelle should have been like, why are you not at the hospital with Christine? I know it's my night. Okay, I'm giving my night up. You need to go be with her during this time because she needs you tonight. Like, I want you tonight, but she needs you tonight. And that's where you need to be. You need to be there because, especially if you're going to put yourself in a position where you're all saying you're family, that's what family does for one another. Family doesn't just look out for what I'm getting out of the situation and we can cohabitate and deal with each other as long as I'm getting what I need. But the minute you need something that might encroach on something I want, then we can't do business anymore. That's not family. You guys have a business relationship, which is fine. But, I mean, call it for what it is. Don't sit there and pretend like we are all family when you have family members who are suffering. And so that's kind of where I was with that whole thing. Let's see what we have. Yeah, Janelle had to file for bankruptcy in order to pay for Maddie's surgery. She did. Most of the women, when they have all of them have bankruptcies, and in most cases, the bankruptcies, the bankruptcies that they filed were in direct result of the medical procedures that they had to have done for their kids that they had to pay for. So both Christine and Janelle had bankruptcies on their records and bad credit because of medical issues that they were responsible for paying for alone. And it's just not right. And so not only is he not there for them physically, emotionally, spiritually, but he's not there for them financially. Which if you can't be there with them, at least your bank book should be able to make up for the difference. And to me, that was always an understanding that especially as you talk about polygamy and we start to go back into the history books, that was also in cultures where they allowed for polygamy, that was also one of the rules, that you could not have multitudes of wives unless you could afford to have those wives. And when I say have those wives, I'm not talking about, you guys all go to work and figure it out. I'm talking about you go to work and you fully provide for those ladies. And if they did work, the money that they earn would be their money. That's their money. That's not, maybe you think you could put that on the light bill money. That's their money. So anything that they choose to do with that money, they got it. That's theirs. That's all theirs. But you, as the man, would be responsible to make sure that those women were 100% taken care of, especially if you had a situation where you had multiple wives with multiple children. That would be your responsibility. But, you know, we live in fantasy world where these women are supposed to go to work every day, but somehow Cody is saying that you guys don't contribute anything to the family. Fantasy Island, like there should have been a little dude tattoo should have been there. You know, I mean, looking for the plane. All right. Oh yeah. Here's one that I was talking about earlier with Cody. Cody was talking about, like I said, he tries to walk on both sides of the street, and there's a point where they start talking about John Smith. Now, for those who don't know, John Smith is the founder of, or purported to be one of the founders of the Mormon Church. And he was a fundamentalist Mormon who believed in, at least from my understanding, he believed in the polygamy, as well as not only was he doing polygamy, he was doing polygyny, where he was taking wives from other people and reassigning those wives. So if he saw somebody he liked, and she was married, he'd take her, you know, and marry, quote unquote, marry and try to have kids with her. And there was instances where he was accused of having relations with children as young as 14. So, and marrying them. So, he's the guy that got shot. Him and his brother got shot at a jailhouse. And they had this conversation about it. And I want you to listen to what Cody has to say. Because remember, this is the guy where Cody's trying to be Mr. Religious guy. And at the same time, he's the same guy that had heavy criticisms towards guys like Warren Jeffs, who was the other polygamous guy who came out right before this started. So, let's listen to what Cody had to say with regard to John Smith. And we'll talk about it on the other side because I think it's kind of interesting.
I wanted to ask, so I'm not a fan of religious polygamy. I'm not a fan of, because I think when you say, hey, here's the plan of salvation, here's how you get back to heaven, and it requires that polygamy happens.
Seems like the choice is out. Yeah, it takes away the choice.
Yeah, and it becomes almost always patriarchy, and it almost always has trauma being ready to be given to the women, namely, but also the men, but the women, namely.
Dude. Yeah. So this is one of the places where I kind of doubt. If you went to a bunch of men in a priesthood meeting or something and said, hey, boys, we need all of you to have.
Now, before we get into it, because we're going to do, again, he's going to hit back on that hypergamy bullshit. But listen to the question. The guy is framing the question as far as, you know, how people engage in polygamy and why polygamy is wrong. And Cody takes it to a whole nother place with his response. We'll pick it back up on this side. But I just wanted to point that out. Like, this is kind of what he was doing at a whole interview where he would start off, the guy would start saying one thing and then Cody would take it somewhere else. And it would be nowhere near, forget the same area. It wasn't even the same zip code. Possibly not even the same planet as where the guy started out with his question or his perspective or his observation. And this makes any conversation very difficult when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they can't stay on task. Or, and this is something that most people will probably experience, when you have a conversation with somebody and they already have in their mind what it is they want to talk about, and no matter what you say, they're going to just go through their script regardless of what you say. So no matter what this guy said, he could have said, you know, pigs like pink and blue polka dot sweaters. Cody would have been like, oh, you know, hypergamy and the women try to use you for all your stuff. And it wouldn't have mattered because the ironic part about it is, and this is why people don't like him, and this is why I think that his image rehabilitation fails, is because everything he's saying is essentially a shot at his ex-wives. Quote unquote ex-wives. It's a shot at Mary. it's a shot at Janelle, and it's especially a shot at Christine. Because all he keeps talking about is hypergamy, 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 how these women are using these guys for financial advantage. And in this instance, they're going to start talking about John Smith, and he's going to start talking about how some of these little girls may have been lying. Let's pick it up.
3 wives. Some of these guys, because their Christian disposition, is going to go, no, rant and rave, horror, terror, this is terrible. And then you'll have half the guys go, sign me up. You have to browbeat a woman into believing that, I think. Unless she's looking at this guy that she's digging on, and she's like, yeah, he's already married, but I'd like to marry him too. And that's called hypergamy. So you have Joseph Smith, who's basically in the time, 1840. He's a freaking rock star. He's loved by many and he's hated by some. Okay. But he's a rock star, man. Where he goes, people are just, women are fainting, these kind of things. Might been long, those long eyelashes. I have no idea. So when he dies and there's rumors of polygamy, oh yeah, you got about a bunch of 14-year-olds going to raise their hand and say, because 14-year-olds, I was a 14-year-old once, and I had all these girlfriends that I wanted to like me who were digging on Scott Baio. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever the heartthrob was, I mean, they're like, I was nothing. I was chump. I liked these 14-year-old girls. They all liked some rock star. Okay. So you got these 14-year-old girls who are saying, I was married to Joseph Smith. And I'm like going, yeah, nobody knows what the true story is here. Okay. And that's where I'm at. Is like, I don't know that it didn't happen. I don't know that it did. I got a lot of inspiration my whole life from the Book of Mormon. I literally think that it's genius. Boring, but genius. And this is why.
I'm going to stop right there for a minute. Now, what I wanted everybody to pay attention to was this guy, he went from, I think polygamy needs to be between like people who are super adults because you're not mature enough to get married, blip, 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 and you can't engage in polygamy. You got to know who you are. They got to know who themselves is, and thinking about Sun Tzu and people I want to just accredit because I'm going to just say ancient Chinese people because it makes me sound smart. Bullshit. Then he turns right around and says, yeah, although I understand that abuses happen within this faith, within this practice, within this religion, and there have been reasonably strong accusations that this is what was going on within this church. I don't believe it because when I was a kid, people like Scott Baio. You idiot. Just because when you were a kid, all the little girls in your class wanted to screw Scott Baio or Justin Bieber or Usher or Brad Pitt or whoever the hell, whatever generation you find yourself in, that does not mean that little girls who are taken advantage of, especially forced into a marriage when they're 13, 14 years old and forced to have children with some creepy ass old dude. Just because your little friends at 13 and 14 had crushes on dudes or even had crushes on a teacher does not mean that they go out and start lying about the abuses that they suffered. To me, that is disgusting. How do you sit there with, most of his kids are girls. How do you sit there with all them girls in your family? All them children that you sired, especially them little girls. And stumble out of your mouth with that bullshit. How do you not choke on that? If this is what happened, you could say, look, I like what he did. I like what he represented. I support the work, but I don't support the man. I get that. I can understand it. I like what he did. I like what he was about. I don't support some of the things that he professed or he practiced. Not my favorite, but okay, I get that. Bad people can have good ideas. That's possible. But let's not sit here and start trying to sugarcoat bad activity and lessen it because we like the message that this guy has to offer. Let's be honest with ourselves. And this is what I was talking about with being consistent in how you see things. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It doesn't matter. Show no fear or favor to the people who are doing the wrong thing. If you're a grown ass man and you looking at a child, then things should happen to you. I'm not gonna go crazy because they'll pull my channel off and I won't be able to do nothing no more. But think like if you're 14 years, if I find out about it, it's gonna be issues and problems. But I'm just saying that we can't sit here and pretend like it didn't happen because kids have infatuation with older people. Here's the thing, and here's always been my thing. Kids will have crushes on older people. That's possible. I remember being in school. There's a couple teachers I can remember, you know what I mean, especially as you start to hit puberty and you don't really know what's going on. You don't know what you're looking at. You just know you like it. I had a couple teachers like that. I can think of, whoa, I was about to holler a name out, Mrs. H, boy. I remember one teacher, she was built like a brick shit house. Okay, you know what I mean? Oh, all day. To this day, I can remember what she looked like. And I didn't know what, if she ever would have tried to talk to me, I wouldn't know what to do with that thing. I would have no clue. At the age I was, no clue. I just knew I liked it. Right? But that's the thing. As a child, you're going to like people who are older than you, people who are out of date. Now, as an adult, as a damn adult, you tell a child to stay in the child's place. As an adult, yeah, you might have a young person come to you and try to talk to you, pick you up, or try to push themselves on you, or maybe be infatuated with you. But as an adult, it is your responsibility to say to that child that this is not right for you and this is not what you should be doing, and you should be looking for somebody your own age. You should be looking for something more appropriate, or maybe even so, let's take it a step further. Instead of you trying to embrace that, why don't you try to appreciate the power that you have in who you are, get to know yourself, get to respect yourself, and get to love yourself, so that way you can share this with somebody who is worthy of that experience. That's what an adult does. That's what an adult does. And so for me, when I heard this position from Cody, this was in fact one of the more childish, scary, and reprehensible things that I think he said during the course of the interview. Because he's so busy, and I think that part of it too is his naivete. But there's also that point where you look at what he's saying and how he's saying it and why he's saying it. I think a large part of the reason why he's saying what he's saying, the way he's saying it, is because he's too afraid to come out and land hard on any one thing, because he doesn't want people to look down on him or look bad at him, or for him to cross anybody. So he's trying to walk on both sides of the street at the same time. He's too afraid to take a position. I am not afraid to take a position. I think that if you're a grown-ass man and you're dating 14-year-olds, I don't care what you're doing, who you're doing it with, or what you're about, or what you contribute to society. I think you're a piece of shit, a scumbag. Period, point blank, the end. I am not going to sit up here and talk about how wonderful you are and what contributions you made. Only thing I'm going to focus on the fact that the damage that you've done has been lasting and will last for another person's entire lifetime, because you didn't have what we talked about in the beginning of the chat, which is dick discipline or kitty cat control. You couldn't control yourself, and you didn't have the knowledge and the wherewithal to be able to make good decisions for yourself. So you started making bad decisions not only for yourself, but for other people who are innocent and don't deserve to be victim to your stupidity, your ignorance, and your selfishness. Period. See, that felt pretty good. Now, Cody, if you ever see this, I encourage you to take the same position. If you disagree with what he did, you disagree with what happened, don't sit there and make excuses that, hey, he might have been popular at the time and people might have lied on him because he was famous. There's a lot of famous people who do a lot of fucked up things. Pardon my French. But there's a lot of famous people who do a lot of messed up, terrible things. But that doesn't mean that the contributions that they may have made to R. Kelly, what R. Kelly? Peeing on 14-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds on tape, dummy. You want to snitch on yourself? Good. You should be in jail, you dummy. Did he make good music? Sure. There's a couple songs, like I wasn't a real big R. Kelly fan, but I mean, there's a couple songs he had that I liked. Don't really listen to him now, but there were songs that he had that I liked, that I thought were good. I thought he was very talented. But I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, well, you know, some people be lying and stuff. You big dummy. We'll go back to the next part of this foolishness.
Because there's so many factors in it, even in Joseph Smith's life. You know, you can go back, you can time it with, if you go to a Torah, a Jewish calendar, and you can find Joseph Smith's birthday is literally of 1805, is literally the day where Hasidic Jews, I'm not really sure, would light the candle on the menorah, the seventh candle. The seventh heavenly messenger's birthday was on December 23rd of 1805. I'm like,
so you're saying
I'm tired to play the rest of that. The reason why I play the rest of it is because he's so full of shit. Sarcasm for fun with the super chat. Thank you so much. Sarcasm for fun. You was holding it down for me last chat. I appreciate that. Hello from your fellow Long Island New Yorker. Long Island, Strong Island. What's up? Let's get it. Give James the HBO special. Sorry I missed the beginning. That's all right, sarcasm. You, like I said, you was holding it down for me last time. Oh, let me, I'm supposed to put my thing up. There you go. Boop. Put my little messenger up. Yay. But what killed me is that he starts talking about this thing, and then he starts going off on something else, talking about a menorah, talking about on Hanukkah and on Christmas. And yesterday he came, you know, there was the golden goose and the 100 grams bear. You know what I mean? What the fuck are you talking about, bruh? Like you just said that this is okay because this guy might have been molesting children, but then you turn around and say it's all right. We can start talking about. I don't know, man. I don't know, and I think that this is also where, like, that's around the middle of the interview. Like I said, go check out the whole thing, man. It's wild watching it because you really start to get a feel for Cody's personality too. You know, because you see how he does things. You see, like, how he starts talking about stuff and he winds up somewhere else, and he kind of has like that like back in the day we used to call that pimp talk. He had that pimp talk where he say a bunch of shit that don't mean nothing. Like, come on, girl, we can do this. We're gonna take you up the Sky Mountain. We're gonna come down. It's gonna be the rocky roads. Like, all right, daddy, just tell me what to do. You know, he's just pimp talking. Like, it doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Like, he's like Huggy Bear from the Starsky and Hutch or one of them 1970s like old time TV shows. You know, like he's like one of those guys who just say a bunch of things that don't mean anything, and then he just says it with a serious face, like he's really contemplating what he's saying. Maybe throw out a couple facts here and there that he picked up, or things that he might know or might not know. And even these two guys who seem to be, at least from my impression of them and listening to them talk, they understand a lot more about Mormonism than even Cody does, because there were a few times where Cody would say things and one of the guys would come in and either correct him or give him specifics on the things that Cody was talking about. And you can see in Cody's inflection and the way he was talking about it, he started to back off of it a little bit because he realized that he was talking to people who understood just as much, if not more, than he did. And the only thing scarier to a fool is realizing that he's trying to fool somebody who knows that he's a fool. And for Cody, I think he started to realize that these guys started realizing he was a fool. Now, there was a couple more clips that I was going to play, but I'm gonna forego those clips. One of them actually is one of the ladies that called in, and I thought it was hilarious. It was hilarious because one of the ladies called in, and she started asking about Robin. And, Cody, he was already protecting her. Robin was a diesel jeans model, and she was super fine and super nice, and the rest of these women betrayed her because they not loyal, and Robin is loyal to me, and she's the greatest thing. She's my wife. And like he was quick to say that, how Robin was his wife. And like I said, they had been cooking Cody's ass the entire time in the chat section. Thank you guys for dropping the chat too, being so involved. I got to figure a way that I can start reading some of these too while I'm going. But he was getting cooked, and the whole time he's getting cooked, like I said, the dude Mormon Mormon Free Radio, he reading it. And when they start calling people up, they do a thing where they have 3 people able to call in. I got to figure out how to do that so I can get some of you guys up here too. Where they have 3 people call in or get on the live with them. That first lady, she comes in, Cody, you're the greatest thing ever. I'm a polygamist, studying person, a fundamentalist. I love it. And I love what you're doing. And you're such an awesome person. And thank you for your representation. Cody is bristling like, oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm the shit. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for calling in. Peace. Peace, dude. And the second lady called in. And she dragged Cody's ass over the rails. She said, Cody, in the last episode, no matter, you know what, bump it. I was
just wondering, you explained in the last episode how you thought a wife was disloyal if she kept her from her husband, but Robin does the same thing from her first husband. How do you explain that difference?
Robin never did that. He had access to them all the time.
Her husband, he's dying of cancer. Do her kids know that?
Her kids have chosen. Well, let's go this direction. This is one I'm going to have to pass on, guys, because this is about somebody else and somebody else's life. I'm not interested in answering that question. Thank you.
No worries. I'll drop the call.
Thank you.
Yeah, no sweat. All right.
I was just wondering.
She came in too, and the whole thing was they had spent the entire time being real, like cordial, and they pushed them like I said, I give them credit because they did the interview the way that I think you would have to do the interview with Cody in order to keep him on the line, because he'll get scared, run off, and disappear on you. But she came in, and she kind of reminds me of y'all, like in this. Like when I read through the chat section and when I read through the my take comment section, y'all, man. If Cody ever read y'all chats, man, they'd have put his ass on watch. Somebody would have to sit with Cody. You know what I mean? They'd have to take my man's belt and his shoelaces. You know what I mean? That's it. Because y'all can be some cold customers. But this lady, she called in, she ain't take no shorts. She was like, look, you said in the last episode, Cody, and you can see Cody's face. As soon as she said episode, his face got tight, right? Because he's been trying to say he wasn't going to talk about TLC, which gives him, ironically, if he doesn't talk about the show, even though he's been talking about the wives, but if they ask him any specific questions about the wives or his life or his relationship with the other wives, he can always deflect any answers that he doesn't want to answer to. Oh, well, that's dealing with the show. I don't want to step on any toes as far as the contract is concerned. I don't want to give out any spoilers, etc., etc., etc. So he has a back door built in. So they have to be very careful about how they approach him. This lady apparently didn't get the damn memo, because she called in and she was like, look, you said in the last episode that a wife wouldn't keep her kids away from the husband and the father if they're a good woman. And Robin did that. And we watched Robin do that in season 5 and 6. That's what makes this whole thing so stupid when I sit up here and talk about him trying to recondition his image. That's what makes it stupid. Because you're sitting here saying that Robin didn't keep the kids away from the father. When I watched her call this man up and threaten him with an attorney, you threatened him with bankruptcy, you told him you were going to sue him, you told him you were going to have him arrested, you told him that if he fought you and the court could find that he was an unfit parent. And for those who are not in the know, when you deal with this type of situation, if they find out that you're an unfit parent, it's not just for the one child that you're fighting for or the child you're in court for. They're finding that you're an unfit parent, period. Which means that the kids that he had at home with his current wife would have been in jeopardy if he would have pursued it with Robin, and something would have happened because, say, he can't afford the attorneys to be able to fight the case, and Robin was not only being funded for attorneys through the Brown family, but I kind of suspect that TLC was also kicking in attorney money, in which case, if he would have went to court and he would have been outgunned with Robin's attorneys and her representation, there's a possibility he not only would have lost custody of his children with Robin, but he very well may have had DHS or the CPS or whoever they have in their area, Child Protective Service, whoever, come down and take his current children out of his house from him and his current wife. And so he had to balance that out. And not to mention, will I have to pay back child support? Are they going to take my driver's license? Are they going to put me in jail because I'm not paying child support? I didn't pay child support. Like, there's a lot of questions that he had to have answer. And resoundingly so, it doesn't make sense to me that you would take custody away from a person so that you could have another person adopt those children, only to turn around in the same breath and say, you're such an unfit parent that I'm going to take your kids away. I'm going to take your rights to your children away. But then I'm going to let those kids come see you next weekend. That shit makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense. Not less than a week, I think it was like a week after the adoption went through, all of a sudden, the kids were able to go see the father. He hadn't seen him for like a year. I played a video. I had a video before where I played it where the son, Dayton, and the oldest child, Aurora, were very excited about seeing their father. Or Brianna. I think it was Brianna. Brianna's the oldest, right? Whichever one's the oldest. Was very excited about seeing the father. You know, they were smiling and we were about to see our dad. It's so great. And the dad and Dayton was up there packing and stuff like, wow, I haven't seen him in so long. It's amazing. It's so great. I'm so happy that I'm gonna finally get to see him. And this is after y'all pressured him into telling him that they didn't want to have nothing to do with him. Are you kidding me? Like, and then you turn around and say that Christine is a horrible person because she moved back to Utah, which she said she was going to do. Only a terrible mother would move. Remember when he said that? Only a terrible mother, a shitty mom, would move her kid away from the father. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Robin's ex-husband lived in Arizona. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Robin's ex-husband lived in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Robin's ex-husband lived in Utah. He lived in, I think, Montana or something. And so she moved the kids away the same way you're complaining about Christine. And that's what I'm saying. If it's wrong for one, it's wrong for the other. Now, if Christine breaks up with Cody and she leaves, fine. That's what happens. Your relationship falls apart. People move away. People find better situations for themselves, etc., etc. It is what it is. You know, Robin and her ex-husband got divorced. She had custody of kids. She moved for a better situation for herself and for her kids. It sucks, but it is what it is. But I'm not going to sit here and say one is terrible and the other one's okay. You have to be consistent. But I'm also not going to sit here and say it's okay for Christine, now that she married Dave Woolley, that if Cody wants to be a part of Truly's life, that Christine should go about the business of stripping Cody away from Cody, or Truly away from Cody. I don't think that that's right. She should have a relationship with her father. as best she can. And to be honest with you, I think that there's a point where you have a better relationship with your dad you have a true relationship with the natural parent as possible. Why? Because it's too often that you take the kids away, hide the kids back, then they have a false image of what the father is or who the father is because they don't know him. They just know he's a terrible person. And then when they finally do meet the dad, how many times the dad come back and be like, no, I tried to be a part of your life, but your mama wouldn't let me. Basically what Cody is doing now. Unfortunately, Truly has tape of Christine saying, like, you know, he was down the fucking street and would not come down the street to visit his daughter. He was in town and drive right by the house and would never turn his car into our driveway to say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I see you out here playing. What you out here doing by yourself? He didn't do none of that. He just kept it pushing. And he wasn't concerned about seeing his kids until they were talking about moving away. He was using Truly as a form of control for the mom to try to keep Christine around. And so you do better. And I understand what Christine was saying. Like I said in my previous video, I understand what she was saying when she said she'll take Truly away and it'll preserve that relationship. To a point, she's right. It does preserve the relationship, because if he was a crap dad, by her taking him away and creating a situation where he has to carve out time in order for him to see her, and he has to make an effort for him to be able to see her, so he will see her and he will spend time with her, that does preserve the relationship. At the same time, she has to do what she needs to do. But when it comes to Robin took them kids from that man. And here's the secret to the sauce. Somebody had mentioned earlier about karma. Karma is such that when Robin leaves Cody, because honestly, I don't see how they get a show after this. I know they're trying to roll out the idea prospect that he's going to get like another wife or something. But if Cody tries to pull in there with a 24-year-old or some foolishness like that, it's not going to go good. And I'm saying that as somebody, I'm not a professional image consultant and none of that stuff. I'm just telling you as a common sense human being. Bruh, if you think people are running your ass over the coals today, you show up with a 24-year-old talking about she your next wife. There's gonna be people out on your porch with pitchforks and shovels. If you do that, torches, the whole nine, bruh. You getting drug up out your house. If you do that, you're a villain now. But you do that, it'll be something different. So I don't see where they're going to have much prospect, especially if they give Janelle and Christine their own show. If Mary somehow gets her own show over there in Padawan, her and her friend, girlfriend and her friend's husband, they get their own show. Cody and Robin, I don't see a show there. And if they don't have a show, Cody, if you don't have a show, you don't have a wife. If you don't have a wife, there's a very strong possibility that Robin's going to do you with them kids just like she did her first husband. Learn from experience. And this is where I would say, you know, as far as him saying like being a stoic and not looking at just what happened and not putting blame on stuff, bro, this is where you get yourself in trouble. And this is where you might actually get some karma back, because you participated in taking them kids from her ex-husband, and who's to say that she won't do the same thing to you when she gets her next husband. So you screwed over her ex, and her next might screw you over when you're the ex. That's my take. Let's take a look at some of these commentaries. Oh, you guys are lighting up you guys having a whole little conversation. Yeah, I do. I agree. I think that for the most part, Robin spent a lot of time twisting her kids' minds, because if you listen to the tail end of it, she was saying that, yeah, she gonna bleed them to the tenders. That's right, Dana Wilkes. Because if you listen to what he said that the kids decided that they don't want to. Oh, and then he stopped himself. How the kids making a decision they don't want to be a part of their father's life, who's dying of cancer? Most likely they've heard terrible things about this man from their mom. Much like I was saying, when they sit there and say they feel bad about their siblings and not having a relationship with their brothers and sisters because they heard that these people didn't want to have anything to do with them. That's because they heard it from their mama. Their mama told them that, yeah, Janelle and her kids don't like your asses. Christine, she said she don't want nothing to do with you. When I went over to her house and I was sitting on her porch, she was saying the only people who had a good relationship with me and Cody, and that's all I heard. And I heard that she said that she don't want to have a relationship with none of y'all. She don't want nothing to do with you. That's not what she said. First of all, she didn't talk about you and Cody at all, you crazy bitch. Second of all, she didn't say nothing about not having a relationship with you and crazy ass bitchy ass Cody. She didn't say nothing about that. What she said was, I don't want to have a relationship with you, Mary, or Cody. She didn't say nothing about the kids. Remember, because Cody was saying she the Pied Piper of the children. So she wanted to have a relationship with the kids. She did want to have a relationship with the kids. She just didn't want to have a relationship with you guys. Because she doesn't have a relationship with you guys. But you told them kids that she didn't want to have a relationship with them. And I suspect that that's just merely another example of what you were doing, because that's what you do. So you were telling them kids that their father didn't want to have nothing to do with them because it made you feel better, made you feel more secure, because Robin in and of herself, no matter what people say about her being a puppeteer or manipulative or whatever the case may be, she does so because she has insecurities. And those insecurities, she's fearful of her kids looking to or looking up to somebody else, which is also part of the reason why she didn't want Christine babysitting, at least in my view, why she didn't want Christine babysitting her kids, and she insisted upon having a nanny, because that was a way for her to be able to keep the family separate and making sure that her kids don't look up to Christine, much like Janelle's kids look up to Christine and have that type of relationship. Talk to me. You understand what I mean? So when they say that Robin is the evil nemesis or the heel of the show or the villain of the show, that's what the audience members are seeing. And that's why people have the view that they have. And that's also part of the reason, the fact that Cody, even if Cody, and I'll go on record as saying this, even if Cody was a good guy who didn't do half the stuff we saw him do, and that's part of the problem, bro. We saw you do it. So for you to sit there and be like, I don't know why people don't like me, because I saw what you did. But even if you didn't do it, if you sat there and supported Robin in what she's doing, you would be a villain. You'd be a villain. And that's why, you're not my kind of people. Point blank. It's got nothing to do with your religion. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're a polygamist. It just has to do with the fact that you're selfish and the way you treat your kids. And the disdain that you have for your kids and the people who are spending time with you. And for somebody who sits around and talks as much about loyalty as he does, he has very little knowledge of what loyalty actually means. What he actually means when he says loyalty, in my opinion, is what he means is they're not obedient. They don't do what I tell them to do without question and without circumstance. They ask questions. They give me their opinion. They tell me that I might be wrong in my assessments. And because they do these things, they're not worthy of being in a relationship with me or my family in big picture. They don't deserve to be a part of my big picture. That's not loyalty. Loyalty is actually when you messing up, and like I was saying earlier, this is probably going to be a theme that I have, you ready to make bad dick decisions. You know what I mean? When you letting your kitty cat take control, and you making them bad choices. Loyalty is not your friend saying, yeah, man, I know we went out for a night out and, you're married, but you should go after that girl across the bar because she is smiling at you. That's not loyalty. Yo, man, I'll cover for you so that you can go do that thing. That's not loyalty. See, loyalty is, man, you're about to blow your life up. You're about to ruin yourself. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because messing around with that girl is bad for your health. Now let's pay the bill and let's get the hell out of here and go on home. See, that's loyalty. Loyalty isn't, I'm going to cover for you, or I'm going to support you in every dumb decision that you make. That's not loyalty. See, if I used to have a thing that I would say, I want to start a business where I would be James' friend to the stars. Because I used to watch, I grew up in a time where stars would just be like, they'd be on top of the world. And they just start making dumbass decisions. And yeah, I would say, you know what I want to do? I want to be the guy who's sitting in the room, be like, hey, let's get drunk, and then drive our cars and do donuts get our Lamborghinis, and we'll do donuts in the parking lot. Nope. Give me your keys. Nope. Hey, let's go to the bar and we're going to get loaded. Guys, we got money. Why are we driving? What are we driving for? We got limousines. We got chauffeurs. Hell, let's just rent a party bus. We'll get drunk as hell. We'll go there. You know what? Even better yet, why don't we just stay here? We'll call some people over and we can have a party here. We got our own house. We don't have to go anywhere. You're that famous where you're in jeopardy. We could just stay here and hang out with people we know and be cool. Or if we do go out, we'll be smart about where we go and what we do. How about that? James, friend to the stars. You know what I mean? I want to do this with Robin, and Robin said it's a good idea. Robin is not your friend. She's not loyal because she's not telling you what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. Oh, Robin told me that when Christine kicked me out of the house, I should go over there and sit on her couch and refuse to leave. That's not a friend. That's not loyal. Loyal would have been, hey, Cody, what you doing over here? Oh, I'm just hanging out all day, and then I'll go over to Christine's house at 7 o'clock. No, Cody, today is Christine's day. See you when you get back. Your day is Tuesday. Today is Monday. You're early. Bye. Go. Bye. That's a friend. That's loyalty. And that would have kept you in your relationship. Loyalty isn't necessarily just them helping you put your relationship back together again. Loyalty is them helping you keep your relationship and stopping you from fucking your shit up before you get to the point where you got to put your relationship back together again. Hello. That's loyalty. So when Cody sits there and talks about loyalty and accountability, you have to be accountable. How are you being accountable? You expect these ladies to be accountable, but yet and still you sit here and play the game that, oh, well, we're in a marriage. I'm not going to take responsibility for none of the stuff that I did wrong. I just wish they would stop talking shit about me. And we would all pretend like we're going to be stoic. And that's going to make everything better. That's not accountable. And again, I'm listening to him throw these terms around, and I'll wrap up on this. I listened to him throw these terms around. Loyalty, sacred loneliness. What was that other bullshit he said? I had it written down somewhere. A cloak of charity. What the shit? We had a cloak of charity where we would make mistakes and we wouldn't crap talk each other. No, what that is they're in a relationship with you and they not putting your business in the street. Now that your relationship is over, all bets are off. And they gonna come out and tell the truth, write a tell-all book on your dumb ass. That's what that is. So he has all these like little terms and phrases that he thinks makes him sound smart, but none of the stuff that he's saying. Hypergamy. Oh, yeah, she's a hypergamy, and that's what that is. That's not what hypergamy is. Oh, they see that you're treating your wives together, and when they see you treating your wives good, then all of a sudden they want to get with you, and that's what hypergamy is. That's not hypergamy. That's not what it is. So he uses these terms for these words that, one, he doesn't understand, and these concepts he doesn't understand. But even if I did play along with the concepts and the words as he lays them out, in most cases the definition of those words and the definition of those terms aren't equal to what he's trying to say they are. And again, that was my take. Let me know what you guys think about the yeah, you couldn't remember that word as the interview went on. Yeah, hypergamy. Because it's a red pill word. Like, for those who don't know, like that's truly a red pill word. Like that's one of the principles that they have, that all women are using you for your stuff. And this is actually popularized with the gold digger prank. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, where the guy will be like standing out at a park or something, and he tries to, supposedly a pretty girl will walk by, and he tries to talk to her, and she turns him down, and then he says, okay, well, I guess you don't want to talk to me. And he goes and he gets into like an expensive Lamborghini or whatever, and then she comes back and tries to talk to him. Half of this stuff is staged because it doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, all of a sudden, the girl is trying to talk to you, or she doesn't pay attention to you at all, but she passes a Lamborghini. But she never looks at the Lamborghini or the Porsche or whatever it is until you go to get in it. Then all of a sudden, it's the most interesting car in the world, and she got to talk to you. The whole point is that if you were talking to somebody and the only reason they were talking to you, then you would be a fool to continue to try to talk to them. If you talk to somebody, if I was talking to somebody and they didn't want to talk to me because they don't like me getting into an expensive car doesn't make me say, haha, you fool. Now, you could have had an opportunity to use me if you only would have played it right. That's basically what you're saying. To me, that's stupid. I would have let her, if I had a $300,000, first of all, I wouldn't buy a $300,000 car unless I got $300 million in the bank. Like, but if you have a $300,000 car that you rent, and most of these guys are renting a car anyway, so you embarrassing a girl because of your rental. You got something from Hertz. She don't want me. She don't even like me because I got this bus pass. But she's not talking to you because you don't have a nice car. You're not dressed fancy. Now all of a sudden she's coming back to talk to you, and you still talk to her? Something wrong with you. Big shout out to Sarcasm for Fun with the super chat. The HBO special is real. James went over the go live speed bump and now loves it. So do we. Beep, beep. No stopping him. There you go. Thank you so much, Sarcasm for Fun. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Rochelle J. $5 super chat. Please hit the like on your way out. HBO for James. Thank you, James. Another awesome live. Thank you, guys. And I appreciate everybody taking time out to spend some time with me. Susie Snyder with the super chat. Cody fell out of the dumbass tree and hit every branch on the way down. Yeah, right. Then he climbed back up the tree and dove off that bitch again. Like, he must have liked how it felt. Because that dude, man, I don't know what's up with him, man. Like I said, he used these like loyalty and you got to be faithful. And, I don't understand why I can't. I don't understand why I can't kick you in the face and you get mad that I kicked you in the face. What? I tried to leave you broken, destitute, and rob you, but then you act like I robbed you. I did something wrong. Yeah, smash the thumbs up. Rad Lip Girl. I appreciate that, guys. And thank you all so much for doing that. I know I'm not on my YouTube game when I'm not pushing the like button and the subscribe button as much as I should, but I get wrapped up in the stories. And I hope you guys are enjoying everything. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. Your take on the mess is always the best. TML, thank you so much. Zamorphidenic. I think I got that right. Sydney, South Australia. It's Sunday, 11:38 a.m. here. Okay. Up early. All right. Thanks for hanging out. And I appreciate everybody hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I think that's a good point. Lane Howe made a good point by saying that, Cody took his time to get to know and fall in love with Robin. And I think that's part of it. I think genuinely, like, Cody, I've said it before, I think Cody is in love with Robin. I don't know if Robin's in love with Cody because Robin is pretending to be somebody for Cody. And the person that Cody's in love with very well may not be Robin. And I mean this in the sense that if you pretend to be somebody else your whole time that you're with somebody, then the person that you're engaging with doesn't really have an opportunity to fall in love with you. They're in love with your representative. They're in love with the person you're pretending to be. but they don't love you because, frankly, they don't know you. And then as I'm watching a lot of the situation with Cody and Robin, there's a very strong possibility that Cody doesn't really know Robin. He just knows Robin and what Robin does for him and how she makes him feel because she tries to cater to his needs, his wants, and his desires. But he doesn't understand Robin, what she needs, what she wants, and what she desires, because if she's trying to be all these things for him, there's a very strong possibility that she'll never truly reveal all the things that she wants, all the things she feels, and all the things she thinks to Cody, because it might be in direct contrast to what he needs to feel safe and secure with her. So in that sense, you kind of get what you want, but what you want isn't necessarily what you think it is or what's good for you. Yeah, but I'm going to leave this up. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to end the live here. My name is James. This has been my take on reality. Thank you guys for hanging out for another live. I'm going to do another live tomorrow, maybe early, for a 90-day fiance if I can get everything together. Then I'm going to try to do another live if you guys want. Would you guys be interested in me doing a live tomorrow night after the Sister Wives airs? I'll give you my first reaction. Let me know. Just give me a one real quick. We'll do a quick survey. And what you guys say, I'll do. So if you guys want me to see my reaction, like my first blush reaction, I probably won't have any clips or anything, no receipts in my in that live, but I'll give you my first reaction if you guys want to hear, if you want to hang out with me again. You know what I mean? Because I aims to please. So we got some ones, got some yeses. Okay. All right. Because I didn't know if you guys were tired of a player yet. You know, I don't want to overstay my welcome. Like, this dude, who he think he is? Montel or somebody? He think he the Oprah? Not even Oprah, the Oprah. He thinks he's the Oprah? Like walking around like he Tyler Perry or somebody. He's Mandia. Okay. All right, Fifi. Good night, all. Awesome. Good night. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll do that. I'm gonna rock it. So tomorrow night, I'm gonna be back. I might come back earlier tomorrow. So if you see me pop up tomorrow, it'll be a 90-day fiance, quick review, quick blush on some of the foolishness that's going on. I'm going to have to compact it down, so it might be some of the Last Resort. They did some counseling stuff on Last Resort. It was terrible. It wasn't even terrible. It was terrible. So I wanted to talk about that. And tomorrow night, after Sister Wives airs, I'm going to be back on this bad boy, and we're going to talk about the foolishness. I think, and they've been dragging this shit out forever. They've been dragging it out forever. And I'm not really a big fan of the way they're doing it because it's such a waste of time. The way they kind of did this season, they really only have maybe about 4 or 5 episodes out of I think the 11th or 12th episode that they're doing now tomorrow. They probably only have like 4 or 5 real episodes like this whole time. The rest of it's just fluff. But that being said, I think tomorrow night they're actually going to do some stuff with Mary. Like, Mary's going to let them know, because I think the way it's going to play out, at least my suspicions, and I could be wrong, we'll see. But the way I feel about it is Mary's going to get them out there on Cloudy Pass. She's going to get to talking to Cody about how she feels and about what happened during that anniversary dinner where he was basically telling her, stop coming around, stop calling, I'm spending time with my family, and laid it out that way. Because Cody don't care. Again, don't never let a man tell you more than once that he don't want you. Because the next time he tells you, it's going to be rough. And it's going to be heartbreaking. And it's to the point now where Cody's just getting cold the way he's doing it. So I think that being said, she's going to let Robin know, your husband just blew it. So I'm out. I'm packing my stuff. I'm gone. And then we're going to watch Robin break down. And it'll be interesting to see where Robin is as far as that breakdown is concerned. Because I think she needs a break. I genuinely think that's what it comes down to. I think the reason why she's so pressed about Mary staying is because if she was able to get Cody over to somebody else's house, she gets to recharge her batteries and she gets to stop pretending to be the character that she is when Cody's around. That she's been forced to be for the last 2-3 years now. And that, I give her credit. It's hard. Like she was doing all that bullshit crying before. And that crying was terrible. But she's probably Oscar level now with the day-to-day pretending to actually like this dude. Sitting in the house. And, she there with a mirror every morning checking his breath. So it'll be interesting to see. But I will see you guys tomorrow night. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality. And I'm out. And thank you guys again for hanging out with me. Thanks for sending this last message. Thanks for checking on me. Appreciate you. I appreciate all you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night. Have a good one. Stay out of trouble. Have a great night, guys.